Variety princess, yeah. Variety princess, yeah. Variety princess, yeah.
Hi guys, welcome to the stream. Hold on, I just realized my lights aren't on. Hold on. All right, I was so confused. And then like these lights I feel are way too bright. So let me turn these down. And I feel like we should change the color of the lights too. I feel like they should be like a blue color. I feel like this game is very like oceany and beachy. Hi guys, so let me go ahead. Hold on. I did not mean to do that. Hi Rissy, hi Michelle. We are finally jumping back into this freaking game after I haven't played this game since I think January 22nd. It's been a long time. It's been a minute. It's been a minute for sure. Alrighty. Why is my face not popping up here? Oh, there we go. No, there we not go. I'm confused. Hold on, let me see here. What's going on here? So when I'm so confused. When I click that, my face pops up. But let's see. Display capture. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, we need to do our life. And I want to make sure the sound is good. I actually need to move myself because also, before we get started, well, I should probably finish what I was about to say. I'm moving myself because I was watching the first part and I was like down in the bottom corner. I'm gonna try to be on this side though this time. I didn't really like that. Let me see. Let me unlock this and move myself. Well, let me put my face over here first. Kind of like this. Lock that, and then let's move this. Because I don't want it to like cover up the dialogue or anything. Okay, I think that's good. I should have watched part 1 this week, but I didn't do it. It's okay. We're gonna kind of I didn't finish rewatching it, but actually let me close this. I didn't finish rewatching it, but I saw a decent amount. So I know, like, and everything else, you know, you can kind of skim through it and see, but let me go to it and let's see. So part 1, parte numero uno. Let's see. Let me make this full screen. Go to game. Display capture. This needs to be pulled down though to like here. Okay. So basically with this game, guys, we are a character. I created my character and I named her Rain. And basically in this game, it's a visual novel. You start out as a kid, you kind of grow up. It's choice based, so the choices you make determine kind of what happens and how people interact with you throughout the game. So we started off as a kid, and there was this guy on our front step. I'll show you guys. There's this guy on our front porch or whatever. Oh, this was how I started out looking. This was my character. So we started out, and there was make this the volume for this kind of low. So it's summer. It starts out, I think the game occurs every summer of whatever time frame it is. So there's this dude on our porch. He looks like he's about 19. Apparently he has a kid. His kid is named Cove. Cove has since disappeared. I'm gonna have to move. I think I'm gonna have to move myself because you guys see how I'm covering up the dialogue here. So I'm definitely gonna need to be over in this corner. And I forgot. I think that's why I chose to put myself in that corner the first time I played. Once I realized I was like covering stuff up because, hold on, I think I might have to look at that again if it's not centered properly. Hold on. Let me move this over. Okay, I think that's good. So yeah, weird dude. I mean, he's not weird, but like my character was just like, who the hell is this? So he offers us money to become friends with his son, Cove. And I'm just like, I don't want money. I didn't take the money. I chose not to take the money because I felt like it would just cause problems later on. So he asked me if I could help him and my 2 moms, because I have a mom that I call mom and I have a mom that I call mommy. So I have 2 moms, me and my sister Lizzie. And am I? Oh yeah, I'm good. Okay. So he asked if we could help him and my moms because he's already talked to them. Apparently he's the new neighbor basically, so they just moved into the town. Not a lot of kids live in this town. People come here for school and stuff, but like during the summer there's really no kids in the area, and some of the adults don't really like kids, stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll help you find him. I find him. He's out here near the ocean, kind of sitting in the grass. He's sad because his mom and dad have since split, and he has been moved here to, what is it called? It's called like something bird, like summer bird, sunny bird. I don't know, something bird. That's what our little town is called. He's been moved here with his dad, and his mom and dad have since split. His dad's super nice, so this is my mom and this is my mommy. They're really cute. I have an older sister named Lizzie. My character and Cove's character are 8 years old. What's up? My character and Cove's character are 8 years old. Lizzie's 10, I want to say. I think she's 10 when we start out. So in the next part, it's morning time. Cove and his dad come over. We're looking at seashells, kind of hanging out. He's very like nervous, anxious, kind of standoffish, always kind of sad and distant. Like that's kind of how he is, but sometimes you'll catch him like getting kind of happy about certain things or smiling. So then I tell him, oh, my sister's friend Shiloh's coming over. Shiloh's like this. At first, when I was playing the game, if you go back and watch this part, I was like, who the hell is Shiloh? Like, should I be scared? But Shiloh's like this little kid. He's super cute. He loves Lizzie, our older sister. And he does everything Lizzie says. He's the youngest out of all of us. He's 7. So, Cove is being kind of weird towards him. Like, Shiloh's super nice. You know those people that's, like, super nice, but then there's that person that's, like, kind of, like, rude to them or responding in a very dry way. That's basically what Cove was doing. Then we went to the park. We met up with my sister Lizzie. She's super cute. She's kind of, like, the one in the kid group that's kind of bossy in a way. Like, she has good intentions, but she's, like, kind of running stuff, but still kind of coming off bossy in a way. So, what happened next? He was going to the stores. His dad gave him some money to go to the shop, like the boardwalk. So, we went there. We got ice. Did we get ice cream? No, we got some toys, and then we got some balloons from this, like, dude on the boardwalk doing magic and stuff. And then his balloon pops. He gets upset. Yada, yada, yada. Then the next part, we're all hanging out at the house. We're playing grown-up or whatever. Lizzie's bossing us around, telling us that she wins the gold medal and we got silver and bronze and all this stuff. So, when our parents got back or whatever, I snitched on her. And then after her golf practice, she had to call Cove and his dad and apologize. So, I had to snitch on her because she was being rude to him, and I didn't like it. Then we went to a restaurant. See, they gave me these options. You didn't regret it. You felt a little guilty, like you had betrayed your sister. You hadn't liked doing it, but had to. But it was her fault for doing it in the first place. And I put, what did I do? I said it was her fault for doing it in the first place because in the video I brought up the point that if Shiloh came over and I was being mean to Shiloh, she probably wouldn't like that. She probably wouldn't like me being mean to her friend. So, you know, she was sitting there being mean to Cove. So I snitched. Then she called. She had to apologize. She was all embarrassed. Then one day I was hanging out with Shiloh. It was just us. We tried to find money because he had a little bit of money, but not enough for us to go get ice cream at the boardwalk. We ended up finding a little bit more. We went and got ice cream. We shared it. It was a nice day. He was kind of like, what's up, Trick Ops? He was, or Cold K, what the fuck? So Shiloh's kind of like the follower of the group. He's super sweet, but like he does everything Lizzie says. Like she runs him basically. So when Lizzie's not around, whoever is around is who he kind of like gravitates towards, and like he does everything that they say. So since it was me and him, he was like following everything that I was saying basically. Then we went back to our block and we saw Cove there, and he was looking sad, and Lizzie was there. We come to find out an old couple on the street. Yeah, let me put this up here, just so people know when they come in, so they're not like, what is she talking about? Yeah, sure. What is it? So we found out that an older couple that was there was kind of rude to Cove. Lizzie had tried to warn him about some of the mean people that live here, because there's not a lot of kids here. So there's some people here that just don't really care for kids. And so we did ding dong ditch on this old couple. Well, I did it while they hid in the bushes, but whatever. Then we all ran. We went to the beach. We were hanging out. I mean, we had a great day that day. That was a pretty good day. Then, with this one, we were building sandcastles. Cove was being mean to Shiloh. Just kind of being mean to him. These are the ones I kind of had to skim through a little bit. So then we went to the library, and there was like a library quiz that we all did. Cove ended up going off and doing his own thing. So me, Lizzie, and Shiloh did it because he was being a crybaby as usual. I mean, I understand he's going through stuff, but he's just crying all day, every day throughout the summer. So we did our own thing. I think we got like second place or something for the little quiz we did, and we actually had to like choose the choices for the quiz. It was pretty cool. Then what did we do? We had a sleepover where he ended up staying. Was this a sleepover? No, he came and knocked on my window or something, and he said he had heard a ghost, and then we were kind of like looking around the city, not the city, but our block and stuff, seeing if we could find the ghost. Then for July 4th, I think it was, we went to the park. We did barbecue and stuff like that. We were playing tag with a bunch of kids. All of us were there. Shiloh, Lizzie's friend, right? He only comes here for the summer. He doesn't actually live here like all of us do. By the way, I think I should mention that. So yeah, we were all together hanging out and stuff. I don't think Shiloh's mom ever really comes around. He's just always usually with us. So we ate food, we watched fireworks. And there's obviously a little bit more details and stuff, but I'm just kind of going over everything pretty quickly so you guys know what's going on. Let's see what else happened. So Cove ended up running away. He just was over being here. He misses his mom. He's sad. The whole like block is looking for him, looking everywhere for him. We're looking at the park and just everywhere. I find him at the edge of the city limits, basically trying to leave so he can go back to his mom, but I convinced him to come back. And then we had a sleepover. We were reading something, I guess. So basically we're growing up together, right? We're growing up together, getting to know each other. I got to choose, starting on the first part, I got to choose how I felt about him after I had found him the first day his dad tried to get me to be friends with him, and then we had to find him because he was near the beach. And I have to put my, like how I feel about him and then like my emotions towards him, something like that. On one, I can either choose direct, relaxed, or nervous as how I feel like towards him. And I had chose relaxed because I was like, I don't know him. Like, we didn't have a fight or anything, whatever. I'm relaxed. So I chose relaxed. And then on the other side, I can choose indifferent, fond, crush, and love. Love is locked, though. I think love unlocks later on, depending on how you feel about him. So for the first one, I put indifferent because I'm like, I don't really know him. Why would I put anything other than that? So I put that I was relaxed and indifferent towards him. Let's see. Okay, so this is what ended up happening. So summer ended, right? And we're going into like we get like all these little prompts saying like what happened after that summer. So we all kind of grew up. We started school. Cove kind of walks past me like he doesn't really know me, but over time he becomes more fond of my character and stuff like that. So we actually get on a level where we actually feel like we're friends. Why? I'm confused. Why the fuck? Hello? Oh, okay. I was like, what? I feel like OBS updated because what am I looking at? Oh, I see. Never mind. I digress. So yeah, we're starting to become friends. I changed my thing to say that I feel, I don't know if I put relaxed or direct, but I chose one of those and then I put fond because I feel like I've grown to know him enough to where I'm at least fond of him. I'm not indifferent towards him. Indifference is like when you just don't feel really any kind of way towards him. But I feel like I spent so much time with him over the summer that it's kind of like you have to feel something for him. Shiloh ended up moving away. Or, yeah, he moved away. He would come here for the summers, but his mom moved back to the South because he said that he only really knew his mom, like his dad wasn't in his life. So they moved back down south, so we never really saw him anymore for the next, like, because I think this is 5 years later, this part that we're at. So, Shiloh moved away. He was so cute. I was sad when I saw he moved away. Lizzie is now 15, and me and Cove are 13. And so, you know, we're going to get to see that dynamic of, like, her. She already was kind of, like, bossy and whatever, but now she's 15, so. Then we have a cousin. I think we have a cousin named Lee who my character talked to on the phone. What else happened between here? There's also a kid named Derek, too. Oh, Cove's cast was taken off. He has, like, a scar on his arm from his cast, which I forgot why he even had. I guess he had fell. I don't know. There's a kid named Derek who came into the town. He comes over during the summers because his dad and Cove's dad do business together. He's cool. Yeah, I was sad when Shiloh moved away because I liked him. Oh yeah, we don't call her mommy anymore. We call her Ma. And Lizzie, we don't call her, she doesn't want to be called that anymore. She wants to be called Elizabeth. I'm trying to just go over like the main points. She dyed her hair purple too. We're in the same house, but you know, it's obviously a little bit different now. Cove is like super tall. He does not look 13 at all. So this is what Lizzie looks like now. Well, Elizabeth. I'm still gonna call her Lizzie, but whatever. This is my room now. This is what she looks like. She's kind of annoying a little bit. I mean, she was always annoying, but now she's like older and annoying. So in this little part here, because we're done with childhood, we're in the adolescent stage. He brought over like one of those like fruit arrangement things that his dad told him to send over to us, which is kind of, it's nice, but it's also kind of weird because like we've known you for years, dude. Like you don't have to do this like welcome shit, but it's fine. This is Derek. Derek came over and told us, this is Cove. Cove does not look 13 to me. He broke his arm crashing a jet ski. Oh. Dang. I didn't know it was, I thought he fell or something. Okay. This is Derek. Derek's super cool. This is Cove. So Derek came over to tell us that there's this new kid in town. He's excited because he's like, you know, there's a new kid. I haven't talked to him yet. I came to tell you guys because there's not a lot of kids around here. So it's cool to see a new kid here. We go to the park. We're dealing with Bowl Cut being an asshole to us. This dude, he was extremely rude. The rudest character I've encountered in the entire game. Oh, you're doing WWE. That's cool. Is that John Cena? In your thing? That John Cena's ish? So yeah, I was about to fight this dude because he was talking about Cove's eyebrows and stuff like that. And then Lizzie came and she was like, because we all ended up eating the fruit arrangement. Me, Derek, and Cove. And she was like, that was for the family, blah, 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 blah. She's like super annoying. So then I was on the phone with my cousin, our cousin Lee, talking about school and whatnot. She came in, Lizzie came in. Oh my gosh, time's up. It's time for me to be on the phone. He snuck over to our house because he came to tell me that his mom is moving in with him, I think. I think she's moving in with him and his dad. So I'm like there for him and stuff. He ends up sleeping over, but we don't tell our parents. And so he sneaks out the next morning, and it's just like, we didn't get caught, and we didn't do anything or anything like that, but he just ended up staying there. And so his mom shows up. Her name is Kira Priest. Or Kyra. I mean, it's really how you pronounce it. I'm honestly probably gonna say it each way, so don't mind me. So yeah, that's kind of where we stopped, and I think we were going out to eat with him and his mom. So we were gonna kind of get to know her and see what she's all about. She showed up, she looked super young and everything, and we were just like, this is your mom, dude? So that is kind of where we are. I think I covered like the bases pretty much. So, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get the game started, and we're gonna jump in and see what the heck is going on in this game. I'm super excited for this. Super excited. Edge is a good guy. The rated R superstar? I'm assuming he's probably not called that anymore since WWE is like all... I mean, I know they're changing it to go back to how it was, but it's all like PG now or whatever. Okay, let's go to the game. Oh, it jumped right on back in. Can you guys hear me okay? Like if I'm reading, can you hear the music, but is it not too loud? Is it like perfect? Because I kind of want the music there. I want it there. I just want it like in the background and not like annoying. I want their voices. I didn't know that. I always thought the meter was like at the full thing. Okay. It's good. The music's loud. Okay. What about now? What about now? Pip pip. Chat, how's the music? Is the music too loud? Is it good for you guys to hear me reading? Also, I'm gonna try, I've noticed like with visual novels, I feel like it's more interesting if the person is like kind of giving their feedback on what they think and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to give my feedback on like what's going on and stuff, because it can get kind of like tedious just watching somebody just read. So I want to give you guys like more feedback on what I think. So first off, she's very pretty. I love her hair. I love how she dresses. She's a vibe. Okay, she's a freaking vibe. I'm here for it. So it says your small group checked over the menus, deciding what to order. Let me know, guys, if the music, if anything is too loud or whatever. Let me know. Hey, can you turn that down a little bit? Can't really hear you too well. Whatever. Okay, so we're about to order our food. The last time you came here, the dish you ordered was amazing. You wanted to order something different this time. Kyra, do I want to call her Kyra or Kira? I like Kira. She looks more like a Kira to me. Kira and Cove didn't need any encouragement for this. They were totally focused on the information in front of them. Soon the meals, too, were ordered and the menus taken away. You glanced at the table surface, waiting to figure out what to say. Hi, Rose. What's up? She is a vibe. Cove sunk back further into his seat and avoided eye contact. He started to twiddle his thumbs while acting like this was all perfectly normal. Not you guys spoiling SummerSlam for everyone in the chat. His sour feelings today were unignorable. Instead of asking more open questions he'd brush off, Kira had mercy on her son and put her focus towards you. Also, when he came over and slept over at our house and he was like venting about his mom moving in, I think he was upset she was moving in because he didn't want to, like, he took so long trying to like become okay with the fact that they had moved away from his mom. And now, she was just coming back like nothing happened. So it was kind of, I think that's what he's upset about, kind of. So, Rain, what's a few things that you're into? There's got to be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. God dang. They gave me a lot of choices here. I like to read. I like to watch. Games are fun. I like to play. I hang out with people. I go to the beach, and I'm into sports like music. I spend time on art. I write things. I still spend time studying fashion. I'm really into Cove. Hello, Nani. I don't want to say that. I feel like that's a little forward. I would say games are fun because they're making me choose this stuff so I can kind of shape how my character is now that she's an adolescent. I'm gonna say I like to play video games. I don't know much about them. Maybe you can show me sometime. Board games, card games, and you didn't say anything else. Oh, I can say all of this? I go to the beach and build sandcastles, swim, go surfing, walk along the shore. I walk along the shore. That's a nice way to relax. I hope to be able to spend some time on the shore while I'm here myself. I like to build sandcastles. That sounds like a lot of fun. Damn, I'm telling her my life story, but this is kind of fun. I like to watch TV, movies, stand-up comedy, plays, people, movies. Kira nodded her head, and you guess she must like that too. And, oh, I gotta sneeze. Oh my God. Bless me. I write things. A fellow writer. Writing is a great form of expression, don't you think? Kira sighed wistfully, her eyes going soft. I like to read. Fiction novels, comic books, manga, magazines, nonfiction books, poetry. Let's do nonfiction. I'll let you know about a lot of things then. And I don't want to say I'm really into Cove. Thanks, guys. I'm so unforward in real life that I'm extremely forward in games. I mean, I could say that, but like, I'm still kind of feeling Cove out. Like, thank you. I'm still kind of feeling Cove out. Like, I don't know. Like, I like him, but like, I don't know if it's like that. Yeah, like, I'm fond of you. You're my friend, but I don't know if it's like, oh my God, like, let me like hug you and we're teenage bays. Like, I don't know if it's like that. So, just checking. Okay, we're talking about WWE. I hang out with people. Hey, it's nice to have friends and family to spend time with. Music. I play the guitar, I play the bass. I'm gonna say I listen to a lot of it. I have an MP3 player at home that my mom helped. Oh, this is me. I have an MP3 player at home that my mom helped me put some music on, and I've seen some concerts. Awesome. I'm trying to do different voices, guys. Do I want to say I play the guitar? Oh my God. I want to be a guitar player. I play the guitar. I'm getting really good at it. I still fashion, I spend time on art, what kind of art? Drawing, painting, oh, I create digitally. I like that. My computer at home doesn't really have all the programs I need. Should I? I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say it. And you didn't say anything else. Thanks. I'm happy to learn more about you. There's so much I hadn't heard. Cove leaves the details out. He was trying not to pay attention, but you could tell he was uncomfortable. Also, I forgot to tell you guys, when Derek came over to tell us that that new kid was in town, Jeremy or whatever, he asked Cove, he was like, do you ever go anywhere other than spending time at like Rain's house all the time? Like he like said it like as a joke, and I was just like, we were just like kind of awkward because it was just like, oh my God, and Cove started like blushing, and oh my God. Hoping it would clear some of the tension in the air, you decide to ask Kira a few questions of your own. Okay, now let's get to know her. Let's see what she's all about. Cove hadn't told you much about her, and you were curious. Okay, we need to turn this up a tiny bit because the music, you can't hear the music at all, and I need you guys to hear the music. I don't want it to just be me talking and in silence, you know? Gosh, it's so hard to get this perfect. Okay, I think that's good for now. Cove hadn't told you much about her. You were curious to know more about this woman who was such a big part of his life. What exactly do you do for work? I'm a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop on what's worth seeing. It's good work. Wow. What do you like to do? Where do you live normally? Are you in a new relationship now? Why did you... Ooh, I'm about to get all the tea. Okay. Let me see. What do I want to say? What do you like to do? Spend time with my little boy, of course. And traveling. A real shock, huh? Where do you live normally? Nevada. Have you ever been there? Oh, okay. You shook your head. It's a beautiful place. Check it out if you can. Okay, girl. Shut. Well, excuse me. Let's see. Oh, are you in it? Oh, do I want to ask that? I don't feel like it's my place to ask this stuff. Because if I ask this and she says yes, then Cove might get upset. Or me even saying this might upset him. And then this is just, I feel like that's kind of intrusive. So I'm good on those. It didn't seem to bother her that the conversation dropped off. Cove sipped his soda angrily, slurping up the remaining drink with furrowed brows. He looked ready to run straight out of the restaurant. See, that's why I didn't ask that stuff. You weren't sure if coming along had ended up making the lunch better or worse. You made a silly face at him, you smiled at him, you gave him a sympathetic look, you flicked his straw wrapper at him, you left him alone. I'm gonna give him a sympathetic look. Cove eventually noticed you watching him and gave him a look to let him know that you were there for him. It took a couple of moments, but finally he cracked a smile and that made you feel a little lighter inside. You two seem really cute together. Cove covered his face with his hands and leaned back in his seat.
Seriously?
Mom, why would you say that? You felt bothered too, you blushed. Thanks, we are cute. You just laughed. I'm just gonna laugh. That was definitely unexpected, and there didn't seem to be any other way you could react. Your meals were delivered shortly after that, and everything was so delicious, even Cove enjoyed his food. Alright, now that we're all full and content, can you explain, please, why you've had a bug up your butt all day? Cove's face scrunched at that. Seriously, baby, what did Mom do to make you this mad? I haven't even been around a full day yet. He gripped the edge of the table, refusing to make eye contact. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. You could have told me. She leaned forward to not miss anything else, eyebrows raised. Told you what? He finally seemed to find his voice and spoke the thoughts that had been on his mind. That I wasn't going to visit you this year, that you were going to be coming instead. Didn't you invite me? You wanted me here with you? Cove's eyes began to shake and his frustration ebbed. I do want you to be around, but I didn't know it'd be like this. It's not the same, and nobody said anything.
I see.
Her expression grew tense. She threaded her fingers together and placed her hands in front of her on the table. We've both been gifted another Clifford surprise. Referring to that as a Clifford surprise almost caused both you and Cove to crack a smile. You also... Oh, Cliff is Cove's dad. You also had no idea his name wasn't just Cliff. Over 5 years, nobody had ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed her hair out, not letting go of her stern look. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They let out identical sighs, but smiled weakly at one another afterwards. I can go home, Cove. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends. Cove's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option. I think I do want you to stay. I miss it when you're not there. My heart! She reached across the gap, grabbed his face, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried to wiggle away. Mom, stop. I'm sorry. Sweet young men need to be smooched by their parents. If I don't, they'll take away my mom license. Kira was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness did return to her voice when the conversation continued. Do you want to talk about your dad too?
No.
Well, damn, shit. He really didn't want to talk about his dad. Holy shit. Okay. Cove had snapped the word instantly, but reeled his annoyance back in just as quickly. Maybe later, not today.
It's alright.
I understand. We can shelve it. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for talking to me, little mister. She grinned affectionately at him before turning her way. And thank you, Rain. Huh? What did I do? It's easy to act like a baby with your mom. It's harder to keep that up with your neighbor watching everything, especially when you really care about what said neighbor thinks of you. She winked. Oh my god. That was aggressive. He was not having it. Mom? She just ruffled his hair with a laugh, then moved her hand down to tap the end of his nose. And that was how the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. When the three of you left the restaurant and Kira had paid the bill, you walked back to your neighborhood slowly. You had eaten so much by that time you were beginning to feel sleepy. It didn't help that the lunch had happened late and the sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. And this is how his dad looks now, guys. But eventually you reached the street. Someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Welcome back, family. And Rain, too.
Huh.
Oh, so I ain't family to you when you be coming to my house all the time. Just kidding. Cliff. Not her putting on her shades. Okay, sis. Dad. The two walked past him into the condo without sparing another word. Despite the summer heat, their shoulders were cold. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. He rubbed the back of his neck with a crooked smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. He's so much like his mom, don't you think? You gave a vague nod, not sure what he was expecting you to do. He nodded back, far more energetically. That hair. Okay, have a nice night, Rain. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cove's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. Summer hadn't started off at all how you imagined it would have, though it turned out to set the tone well. Having Kira in the neighborhood was a new experience for not only you and Cove, but also both your families, and a dull moment was rarely had. Okay, so these are the different ones we have here. Change page. Moment select Derek. Wait, do I not have this unlocked? Hello? Oh. Alright, if I gotta get this, I will. Because I don't want to. I want to get everything. I didn't know we had, like, stuff with Derek. That's interesting. Okay, let's start with... So we have Wave, Growing, Family, Dinner, Road Trip, Mall, Birthday, Summer Work, Escapade, and Soiree. And these are the moments that happen throughout this summer. So what we just played was kind of like the prologue for the adolescent stage. So these are like different moments that occur throughout the summer. So let's go ahead with Wave. The family shopping trip had lasted most of the morning, and you still had to unload everything from the trunk before you could go enjoy the afternoon. You cradled another bag in your arms as you headed towards your house. It was one of the heavier bags from the grocery store, loaded with fresh apples, ripe tomatoes, a bunch of carrots, and even half a watermelon. Ma came out the front door and paused just ahead of you.
It's no trouble.
Need any help with that, Rain? I can bring it the rest of the way if you want me to. Yes, please. It would be helpful. Yes, please. It was just too heavy. No, I've got it. You were doing fine. No, I've got it. You could just manage to hold it. You eagerly agreed with a nod of your head. You needed someone else to take it. You didn't say anything. You could finish the job yourself, no problem. I'm gonna say this. Even if it was heavy, you want to bring it in yourself. Ma gave you an encouraging grin and rustled her fingers through your brown hair. You set the next bag on the counter. Your older sister began to root around inside for the contents with a sigh. How much is left? Still a few more bags. With a huff and a puff, Elizabeth continued putting away the groceries, and you retreated out of the kitchen before you could become the target of her bad mood. Oh yeah, she's in a mood. Careful, Rain. You hadn't been looking where you were going and bumped right into Mom, almost stepping on her toes to boot. Sorry. I can give you a pass this time, but be sure to watch where you're going. If you run into the wrong person, you might get your license revoked. She grinned at the bad joke as you continued through the door. Outside, Ma had started organizing what remained and putting back any loose objects that had fallen out during the trip. When you stepped up to the trunk beside her, she took in a big breath of air, her dress gently swaying around in the breeze.
It's a shame.
It's a shame we had to spend the morning cooped up in that shopping center. It's such a beautiful day, don't you think? You tilted your head to the sky, gazing at the clear blue expanse. Yeah, it is. Days like today are my favorite. It's too hot. I wish it was raining. I like when it's stormy best. I'm just gonna say yeah, it is. You closed your eyes and enjoyed the way the sun warmed your face for a few moments before turning back to help Mom with the groceries. Oh, hi, Cove. You notice Mom wave over at Cove, who had just exited his front door, his surfboard propped up under one arm. Let me see. Surfboard and wetsuit. Where might you be off to on this beautiful day? Cove flinched at being called to so suddenly. He hadn't realized there were people out here already, but he quickly recovered. Good one, Mrs. Palmer. He crossed the pavement to properly say hello to you and your moms. Hello, honey. It's a beautiful day for surfing. I haven't been out on the waves in a long time. I'm jealous. Cove smiled, pleased to have people around who shared in his hobby. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a few good waves before it gets dark. Do you want to come hang out there later, Rain? Not him inviting me out. This is weird because he never would have invited me to do anything with him when we were kids. Sure, I'll meet you there when we're done. Oh, yeah, I could do that. All right, I can't this time. I'll go. Cool. Can I help out with anything?
No.
This is our job. You go enjoy the beach. Rain can catch up as soon as she's finished here. All right, I'll see you. Yeah. You watched as Cove headed off towards the beach, unable to hide your grin, knowing that you'd be joining him soon. Once everything had finally been taken in and put away, you got yourself ready to meet Cove at the beach. You had a surfboard in your room that you wanted to take with you. Your family had a surfboard around here somewhere. You weren't sure what you were going to do. He was surfing and you didn't know how. Nah, I must say I have my own surfboard. You'd been practicing your surfing more and more lately. It was always ready to go. After grabbing your board and getting everything ready, you headed down to the beach. Have fun, honey. Stay safe. When you arrived at the shore, you were greeted by the crash of waves and the soft calls of seagulls. You took in a lungeful of the ocean air and felt your brown skin warm in the sun. You noticed a small setup nearby with a towel, some sunscreen, and a bottle of water. It must be Cove's. You spotted Cove himself nearby. He hadn't gone out to sea yet. He was just sitting in the sand at the water's edge, his board propped up beside him. You ran up beside him. Hey, are you waiting for someone? Rain. He looked up at you with a smile and quickly hopped to his feet. I was wondering if you were still coming. I wouldn't have missed it. Sorry you had to wait and stay inside all day? I don't think so. I wouldn't have missed it. He chuckled shyly at your insistence. Okay. Then he cast his eyes out towards the waves. Cove, I'm not that good at surfing. I'm ready to get in there. Want to have a competition? Will you give me some tips? I'm not that good. You dragged a toe through the sand, feeling silly, but still worried nonetheless. He gave a bent smile. So, we're just gonna have fun, right? Yeah. His words made you feel better, and the two of you headed into the water together. Oh, this is pretty. You paddled out into the sea to where the good waves were. The water was cool against your skin.
It's nice.
Not too calm, but nothing crazy. It looks perfect today. He smiled at you, and you couldn't help but smile back. You felt totally content. Until Cove kicked the water a little too hard, and it inadvertently splashed you. Hey! Sorry! The apology did not come across as especially repentant, as he was practically laughing when he said it. You splashed him back. You laughed but waited for an opening for revenge. The second he looked away, you kicked back, spraying him. It quickly devolved into a splash war. You had no idea who was winning at the point when the ocean decided to throw its weight around and douse you both with a tall wave. Cove laughed, his smile infectious. You couldn't help but join in. Jaw? Nah, I totally won. I'd say you won, yeah. Nah, I won. How does this work? You conceded first. That means I win. Cove shook his head and went silent for a minute. It was a sound argument. Eventually, he just shrugged. Fine. I knew it. Cove pointed out into the distance. You followed his finger to see some nice-looking waves. Hey, let's get going. You agreed. No doubt there was room for you to do something good. You were ready to have some fun. You started taking on waves. Cove tried out a few tricks, and you got into the rhythm of finding just the right waves. Have you ever thought of what the fish and other ocean animals think we're doing here? Have you?
Not really.
Okay. It seemed that was all he was going to say on the topic. You started to turn away to paddle to the next wave when he spoke again. Oh, that's weird. Cove reached in the water and pulled out something small and brown. Was it a tiny stick? A clothespin? Cove looked at it with disbelief. He blinked slowly, then he raised the clothespin with a mischievous look in his eye. I guess it's needed. How else would dolphins hang up their flippers? They've got to be stored somehow. That was terrible on any scale. Please don't. You're adorable. I'm not sure that even counts as a pun. I love it. I'm gonna say that was terrible. He giggled shyly and kicked lightly in the water. You played around for the rest of the afternoon and kept chatting in between the waves. You thought about how you had surfed today. You absolutely rocked it. The waves loved you today. You did pretty good. You're definitely improving. You were okay today, nothing special. You were reminded there was a reason why you needed practice. I'll say I did pretty good. A while ago, you never would have been able to ride some of today's waves. You really were learning. If you kept this up, who knew how good you'd be at the end of the summer? Cove gave you a lot of encouragement about your performance. What an afternoon. The setting sun was visible on the horizon. Every time you would look away, it had sunk a little lower. The beach was darkening, but still pleasantly warm. This is so pretty. I would have this as my computer, like my desktop wallpaper. You knew you should get out of the water before it was completely dark in the sea. You rode one last wave to get back to the beach. There you picked up your surfboard and gave it a quick once-over. Cove followed behind you to the shore. He put his board with his other things and grabbed his towel to start drying off. As he ruffled his hair with the towel, you watched the sunset together. The colors were beautiful in the distance, and the shadows around you deepened. There was no need for words between you two, as you both enjoyed the sight for a moment. Cove broke the silence. The waves were good today, I think. Yeah, totally, I guess. Perfect for surfing, did you really think so? I'll say, yeah, totally. He nodded mildly. You've gotten so good. You couldn't help but smile at the praise. It meant a lot coming from him. You chatted a little more until the conversation truly died out, and all you heard was the rhythmic sound of waves. Then Cove sighed. The day can't be over. Not yet. He scowled into the distance as if the sun exiting the sky was a personal offense. Don't you think it should be longer? Yeah, it felt long enough to me. Only a shrug could express your feelings on that matter. I'll just say yeah. Cove stood up straight in defiance of the approaching darkness. I'm not gonna go home yet. I want to go somewhere. I don't know. Cove was still dripping in salt water, so you weren't sure what the alternative was. Wetsuits were fine for the beach and not much else. It wasn't a good idea for him to lug his surfboard around town either. You'll be real cute in that wetsuit wherever you go. Well, I need to call it a night. Yeah, I want to do something too. We'll sure be welcome anywhere soaking wet like this. I'll say that. Cove finally took note of his current state and laughed. He shrugged. Then he looked down the shore with wide, shining eyes. There's at least one place it's always okay to hang out in, no matter what time it is. The park. You nodded. The park was virtually always empty. Even Elizabeth only went over there nowadays if she was looking for you. How times have changed. She used to be so protective of the place. Oh yeah, so the park, it was corny, but it's okay because it's Cove. True. Yeah, the park used to be Lizzie's park. That's what she called it, because nobody ever really went there except for us, but she called it her park. In fact, the only person there was a chance of running into might be that Jeremy kid again. Oh god. You brought the idea up to Cove and he cringed, but I'm still going. The sun is still there a little. I'm staying out as long as it is. I'll go. Okay, let's go. Cove took a minute to put his stuff in order to make sure. He made sure to get it all, though didn't take much care to shake the sand off. You dealt with your own things. You stuffed everything together quickly. You took your time to pack your bag. I'm gonna take my time. The two of you finished at about the same time. As a final touch, Cove plucked his glasses off the beach and put them back on his face. He looks more like himself now. It's like thundering outside, by the way, guys. He led the way down the beach to the park. It wasn't far, so it didn't take you long at all. The sun still hadn't completely disappeared just yet when you made your arrival. Cove stuck his surfboard upright in the sand and tossed his towel over the top. By now, the two of you were mostly dry. The summer breeze on your skin kept you pleasantly warm. Cove oddly went over to the monkey bars. He grabbed them, feet flat on the ground, and pretended to go across. He had definitely grown in the past few years. He looks like a grown-ass man to me. Like, he does not look 13. You had also outgrown the monkey bars. You were way too tall to play on them properly anymore. When he got to a bar in the middle, Cove pulled himself up and through, then sat on top of the bars. His legs dangled off the side of the bar he perched on. You joined him, you stood nearby, you took a seat on the swing. I guess I'll get up there. You didn't even have to stretch to pull yourself up. It was a rather tall seat to clamber on, but it worked. Cove scooted over to give you more room to spread out. These monkey bars weren't made for two teens sitting on top of them. Guess what? He smiled broadly and raised an eyebrow. He's not here. Right, it was true. There wasn't a single sign of Jeremy. Looks like it was just going to be the two of you tonight. Cove hung his head and groaned dramatically. Her eyes widened when he whipped his head back up.
No way.
I can't believe how dumb my parents are for forcing me to come to this stupid place. Damn. What the fuck? You were taken aback and blinked for a second before you realized he was quoting Jeremy. Oh, I thought he was talking about himself. I'm like, you're back to that dude? Like, it's been 5 years. Like, jeez. Haha, don't scare me like that. One Jeremy is enough. Oh, yeah, because that Jeremy guy, he was saying the same thing Cove used to say. I mean, but Cove wasn't, like, hateful. Like, he was that Jeremy guy. He was hateful. He was like, my parents brought me to this stupid place, and I have to be around you dumb idiots, and I don't want to be around any of you. Like, he was rude. You don't have to tease him. Nah, he can suck my ass. Parents don't know anything. That's not really nice. Funny, but not nice. Don't scare me like that. One Jeremy is enough. I'm gonna say that. Cove chuckled back at you, a mischievous glint in his eye. You looked around. The old park, the streets you knew like the back of your hand, and the beach. These were your stomping grounds. You wondered how Cove actually felt. How much was his joke just a joke, and how much was sincere dislike of this place? Moving had never been his choice. Do you actually like this neighborhood? I know you don't think it's dumb. You let the silence stretch between you two. Let me say that. Do you really have to ask that, Rain? Cove kicked his legs carelessly as they dangled. He smiled softly. I like it here. I really do. It's a nice place. He didn't hesitate. There was no uncertainty. That was his genuine opinion. Oh yeah, Jeremy's terrible. Yeah, I like it too. Well, at least one person likes it here. You nodded wordlessly. Well, of course, I'm here after all. You're the best thing in the neighborhood, Cove. I'm gonna say this. He shook his head with a rueful smile. It didn't take long for the day to finally draw to a close. The sun was gone and it was dark. You chatted a while longer, but it was definitely winding down. You better get home. I wish days were longer. You chose to not say anything. I'll say that. I wish this day was longer. His feet kicked out and made him look like a pouty child. Oh well. Cove sighed. It was time to go home. He hopped down from the monkey bars with a thump when his feet hit the ground. You clambered down the monkey bars yourself. You lowered yourself more slowly than Cove and barely made a sound when your feet reached the ground. Cove grabbed his surfboard and threw his towel around his neck. With his water bottle in hand, he was ready. You both began to trek up the road. It was a quiet night and you didn't run into anyone else. In what felt like no time at all, you had reached your street. As you walked, Cove smiled to himself. It was a soft expression and you couldn't help but wonder what put it there. Hey, don't keep all that thinking to yourself. I just remember when we were younger, it used to be such a big deal to come home after dark. You could indeed recall, if you got sandy, your parents would have something to say. If you got wet, your parents would have more to say. And if you came home after dark, well, your moms and his dad better have said it was okay beforehand. You used to need permission for everything. That small comment he made exposed just how much freedom you really had this summer. Cove looked up into the sky, a smile still on his face, as the two of you walked side by side reminiscing. When you came to your houses, you turned to each other. Thanks for today, Rain. Bye, it was nice seeing you. This was definitely an interesting experience. Yep, thanks for the awesome day. I'll say this one. Cove waved and you both turned around to your respective houses. This was a pleasant end to the outing, you thought. Okay, that was a nice little one. Cool. Hold on, guys. I want to see why I don't have those DLC. Because I thought I got all of the DLC. So I'm a little confused, not gonna lie. Let's see here. There's a Cove plushie available. Hello? The Thunder. Let me go to the store page. Let me pause that. Step 1 expansion, step 2, step 3, step 4. Wedding story? Hello? Who's getting married? I'm confused. Step 1. It says I have step 2, step 3. I just don't have the wedding stuff. I don't quite understand. Hold on, let me look it up. I'm just curious, guys. What the hell? So I think the game dev said, he said those DLCs don't exist yet. He said he hasn't written them. There's just some outlines. Not you having this stuff in the game and making me curious, and you haven't even written it, buddy. Oh yeah, that's the thunder. It's thundering outside. Okay, let's look at growing. Oh my god, are we about to get like acne and like puberty stuff? Oh my god. I don't think I can even click on it, Rose. See, that's the thing. It's just there as like an outline, but it's just like, that just makes me want to play it. Okay, let me sit up a little bit. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Hold on, let me get some water. It's a lot of reading. Need some water. Yes. Okay. Early one afternoon, you found yourself in the living room with your family. It was another one of those summer days where it felt too hot to go outside, but it was too uncomfortable to do anything inside either. The air conditioner was cranked up as far as you could negotiate it, but everyone was still being pretty lazy. You, your moms, and sister were lounging around while the TV blared on in the backdrop, ignored by all of you. You specifically were lying spread eagle on the carpet, sitting cross-legged on the floor. Yeah, I agree, Rose. Like, why is it even there? But that message where he said that was like December of last year, so it's like, you still haven't written it, buddy? I know, I hope so too, Rissy. Sitting cross-legged on the floor, perched on the arm of the couch, draped over the coffee table. That doesn't sound comfortable. I'm just spread eagle on the carpet. You stared up at the ceiling, your eyes unfocused and mind clear of all thoughts. Elizabeth broke the silence with a loud groan. You glanced over. She was lying on her back over the couch, massaging her calf with one hand. Ugh. I feel terrible. I'm dying in this house and my legs hurt. Mom looked up from the magazine she'd barely been flipping through and frowned, concerned. Could you have strained them somehow? Elizabeth flailed briefly, then flopped onto her side with a heavy sigh. I don't know. It just hurts.
Sweetie.
Oh, sweetheart. The moms, they're so nice. Your power went out yesterday for about 15 minutes and you were working? Oh, damn. Sometimes, let me not wish for that, but sometimes I wish my power would go out more often when I'm working, honestly. The way I can't hear the thunder at all, I only have one earbud in, maybe that's why. I'm glad you don't hear it. It's pretty loud. Ma got up from her seat at the kitchen table and walked over to your sister. She did a light pat on Elizabeth's shoulder sympathetically. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. Maybe it's growing pains? You could be taller by next fall. Elizabeth scoffed. She didn't look impressed by Ma's assessment. I'd rather be my height forever than deal with this. Mom walked over too, leaning against the back of the couch. Kids, they grow up so fast. Soon Elizabeth will have a home of her own, maybe even with a nice husband and some kids if she feels like it. She sniffled loudly and wiped at her eye, but you could tell that it was just a bit. Girl, aren't you all getting emotional? Hello? You tilted your head, even though you knew Elizabeth liked guys. It was hard to imagine her with a boyfriend or husband. She only seemed invested in hanging out with her group of friends, not chasing after boys. Mom must agree with you because she shook her head.
No.
Let's not exaggerate. She's still practically a child. But if you ever do pursue romance, Elizabeth, you can come talk to me about it. Oh my god, it is lightning. The power might go out, guys. Just letting you know. And I'm sorry if it scares any of you. You can come talk to me about it. Definitely, we're always willing to lend an ear. Elizabeth's features contorted in disgust.
No.
No way. I'm not talking to my moms about that. Mom's jaw dropped. Look at her face. And she gasped in an exaggerated display of shock. Her hand came up to rest against her chest. Ma only grinned. She didn't look offended by Elizabeth's quick response at all. Yeah, that was loud, right? It really wouldn't be so bad to come to us. I know what it's like to have a crush on a pretty boy or two. I don't, but I can listen anyway. Mom started at her own joke while Ma burst into giggles. They were having a little too much fun at Elizabeth's expense. Elizabeth certainly wasn't feeling the amusement because she rolled her eyes and sat up.
Thanks.
I'm going back to my room. I'd rather melt alone. Thanks. She strode off towards the staircase, taking the steps 2 at a time. Your mom stared after her, then turned to each other with raised eyebrows. Whoops, looks like we scared her off with all that romance talk. Oh well, we'll get her next time. You watched them titter with some surprise. Hello? Obviously your mom's liked women, but you had no idea that Ma liked guys too. Today was your first time you'd heard her say something like that. Yay! Cute. So she's bi. Wait, you've had crushes on guys? Since when? Ma turned to you, happy to bring you into things now that you've spoken up. She smiled and nodded. Always. I like both. But I like your mom most out of everyone. She's special. Ma's smile turned all soft in the corners, like it usually did when she looked at her. She pinched Mom's cheek lightly. Mom reached up to cup a hand over Ma's. Even when Ma stopped pulling her cheek, their hands remained clasped together.
You're fantastic.
Thanks, Lonnie. I think most women have charm, but no one can hold a candle to you. Her name is No Lonnie, by the way. Her name? I don't really know her name. That's just Mom.
Aww.
Oh, Pamela's her name. There we go. Aw, Pamela. Ma beamed, then kissed Mom on the cheek she'd been pinching before. You laughed at their antics. You thought the moment was very sweet. You cringed. Parents were embarrassing. I mean, it is sweet. From an outsider's point of view, it's sweet. But, like, honestly, like, it is kind of cringy, like, low-key. So, I'll say it was sweet, though. You smiled to yourself at the sight. No matter how often your moms expressed their feelings with each other, it was always nice to witness it. Ma looked back at you, letting Mom's hand go down with a brief squeeze. Oh, Mom's hand go with a brief squeeze. She settled down next to you, and Mom followed soon after. You know, I'm also here to listen to you whenever you're ready. That offer isn't just for Elizabeth. She bumped her shoulder with yours, a reassuring smile in place. There's no rush, of course. You can take all the time you need to figure out what or who you want.
It's okay.
Don't think you have to stick with whatever you come up with right now, either. Life's nice like that. It can change, and you can learn. Mom nodded her agreement. The two of us are happy to hear you out, and we may be able to relate better than you think. Still, we won't push the topic, at least most of the time. She gave Ma the weakest scathing look possible while being unable to stop grinning. Thanks, you nodded silently, you shrugged. You don't have to worry about it. I'd rather pass on all that. I'll just say thanks. I'll think about
Wonderful.
it. Good, that's all we ask for. Mom let out another exaggerated sniffle. It didn't take a genius to realize it was fake. First Elizabeth and now you, Rain? Do you have to grow up? Yes, children tend to do that from time to time. Your parents quickly grew absorbed in their conversation about rearing kids. You took that as your cue to leave, getting up so you could spend some time alone in your room too. They let you go without a problem, so you made your way up the stairs. You let out a sigh once you stepped into your room. It was just as sweltering in there as it was in the living room, possibly even a little warmer. You couldn't even open your window since it was hotter outside, and you just let the AC out. You dragged your feet as you crossed the room. You checked your current sweltering condition in the mirror as you passed by it. You thought back to the conversation you'd had downstairs about growing up and all that. After a moment, you stepped a bit closer to the mirror. You stared into it, then turned away from the surface to look down at yourself. You were definitely growing, all right. It was weird thinking about how you were now in comparison to what you'd been when you were younger. When it came to your body, it was getting some muscle definition, was chubby, was slender, was heavyset, was sort of scrawny. I'll say slender because I said my girl was like tall, so she's like tall and slender, I guess. You shifted to the side, your head still facing forward and continuing the self-evaluation from this viewpoint. At birth, you were assigned female Anne. At birth, you were assigned male Anne. You were born intersex Anne. I was assigned female. Your chest was flat now, but that would likely change at least a little as you got even older. You were starting to develop breasts. You already had noticeable boobs. You aim not to have breasts through hormone therapy. Oh, that's cool that it gives you that option. Da, 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 da. Nah, I'm just flat-chested. Oh my god. Okay, you tried to imagine what your adult self might be like. You ran a fingertip over your birthmark. That was something that had been consistent for you. You took a step backwards, finished with your impromptu inspection. You locked eyes with your reflection, cocking your head to the side. All things considered, you thought you looked fantastic. You didn't look too bad. You had no idea how to feel. You were simply neutral. You were self-conscious. You just wanted to look differently than you did. I'm neutral. I'm a 13-year-old. I don't give a damn. You tilted your head over to the opposite side, but you still couldn't find anything to have much of an opinion on. You shook your head roughly, putting thoughts of what you were turning into out of your mind. This wasn't the time to focus on such things. You had to find something to do in this heat. You shuffled over to your bed, collapsing onto the mattress, your brows scrunched up in thought. Time passed slowly, and to your annoyance, possible ideas about what to do were few and far between. You weren't sure how long it'd been, but eventually you heard your mom call you from downstairs. Rain, there's a call for you. Cove wants to come over. Is that all right? You perked up at the words, sitting up in bed. You yelled back to her immediately. Yeah. You got to your feet and headed downstairs, eager to see your friend. You needed to go downstairs soon anyway because your empty stomach told you it was almost time for lunch. Just as you reached the bottom of the stairs, you saw Mom put the phone back on the receiver. She glanced at Mom leaning her hip against the kitchen counter.
What a pickle.
Well, here comes trouble. We better prepare ourselves. Mom clicked her tongue in clear disapproval of Mom's words. He's such a good boy. Cove never wants to cause trouble. He can just be a bit thoughtless and impulsive. Oh, I know. He's very sweet, but that's what makes it more of a problem. If a stranger or some kid from school was egging Rain on to behave badly, I think we can both agree that she'd do the right thing in the end. But if Cove Holden got into a reckless mood and wanted Rain to be a part of the ride, can we really be certain of what call she'd make then?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Rain helps Cove settle down. He would have gotten himself in even more trouble without her. I love the purple hair.
Thanks.
You have a point. Look, all I'm saying is that I haven't forgotten that time when they were kids and Rain chased after Cove once he ran away. Ma just laughed as she turned away, still snorting. Her eyes met yours. She blinked in surprise and waved at you with an easy grin. Mom looked over, noticing you at the foot of the stairs as well. Oh, I didn't expect you to come down already, Rain. I just wanted to let you know what was happening. You pretended you didn't overhear the conversation. No, I'm calling people out. Not y'all down here gossiping, talking ish. Hello? Well, if I hadn't come now, then I wouldn't have heard everything you said. Ooh. Ooh, you got caught, Pam.
What?
What? You were saying things too. I didn't say anything I wouldn't have told to Rain directly. Oh, you're unbelievable. Hi, Supreme. What's up? You should. I think this is a really pretty color. My character in GTA, her hair is like kind of that color. You shook your head at your parents even as you fought a blush when you remembered just what they'd been discussing. All right, you got me. I'm sorry for being gossipy and saying that about your friend. I can be bad too.
Let's go.
We'll get out of your way now. Mom sighed in mock defeat and made her way down the hall. Mom followed after her with a hushed giggle. Now you were alone in the living room, tasked with waiting for Cove. And that was just fine with you. If it hadn't been so hot outside, you would have visited him at his house a long time ago. You took a seat at the kitchen counter and settled in for the wait. As expected, there was a knock on the door a few minutes later. When you got up and answered, your neighbor was standing on the other side. He came in once you stepped aside to let him pass, giving a little wave. You greeted him as you typically did. With a wave, with a low five, with a nudge to the shoulder, with a niggy, with a hug. I'll give him a wave. You waved back, closing the door behind him with your free hand. Cove sighed and wiped at his face a bit. You noticed the sheen of sweat across his brow. He must be glad to be back in an air-conditioned place, even if he only had to walk across the street to get there. So, what's with the sudden visit? I don't want to do anything, not when it's like this. He gestured vaguely to the humid air hanging around. I thought I could at least do nothing with you. You thought that was really sweet. How'd you know I was doing nothing? Maybe I had plans. Oh, damn. You nodded. That made sense to you. I was thinking the exact same thing. Oh, no, that's sweet. His words were nice and expressed real fondness for you, in a strange sort of way, which was usually the case with Cove. Have you had lunch yet? I was gonna do it soon. He shook his head. I haven't really felt like eating because of the heat. I probably should have lunch. I didn't have breakfast this morning. Yeah, I get like that sometimes too. You should really eat properly. You didn't eat at all? Then you gotta have something now. Great, we can eat lunch together. I get like that sometimes too. My parents don't like it when I do that though. Mine don't either. They'll ask if I ate here when I go back home. As one, you headed into the kitchen. You crossed your arms as you glanced around, wondering what you should scrounge up for a meal. I don't want to eat anything that's warmed up. Is there something cold or not cooked? Yeah? After a bit of back and forth, the two of you concluded that you should raid the fridge and cabinet in order to make sandwiches. With that settled, you had planned to decide on the outer layers first. There was a wide variety to choose from, since everyone in your house had their own favorites. There was white bread, wheat bread, sourdough, mixed grains, gluten-free bread, and pita pockets. Could you take the grain one for me? Sure. You reached for the mixed grains, then made your decision. A lettuce wrap, white bread, sourdough, mixed grain, cinnamon swirl bread, gluten-free bread, the pita pockets. I kind of like... Yeah, parents really do. Parents really do think that. Cinnamon swirl, I kind of like that. You pulled out the cinnamon swirl bread too, setting both items onto the counter. Then you had to decide what main direction the sandwich would go in. You want to make a sweeter style of sandwich? You want to make a truly savory style of sandwich? Sweeter. Something sweet would be perfect in the sweltering heat. As for the specific ingredients, peanut butter, cashew butter, marshmallow fluff, honey, chocolate hazelnut spread, strawberry jam, apple slices, strawberries, mango slices. Oh. I don't know. Guys, what would go well with cinnamon swirl bread? I don't know. I chose cinnamon swirl bread. What would go well with that? I don't really know. I don't know, guys. What goes well with cinnamon swirl bread? I feel like I'm gonna choose something that tastes nasty. I don't fucking know. Oh my god. Apple slices? Would that be nasty? Cinnamon apple? Apple slices? Cinnamon with apple? Apple cinnamon? I'm gonna choose apple slices. And that's it. You nodded to yourself with a quiet hum, satisfied. Yeah, the options were kind of The two of you bustled around the kitchen, opening and closing things in order to collect everything you needed for your individual sandwiches. You focused intently on assembling your own for the most part. When you were close to being done, though, you glanced over at your neighbor. Cove was putting his sandwich together delicately, his brow furrowed and tongue sticking out just barely. There were open jars of peanut butter and honey near his plate, as well as a banana peel. Okay, cool, yay! I'm glad you said that, Supreme, because I'm like, So he was making a peanut butter, banana, and honey sandwich on mixed grain bread. See, that sounded nasty to me. I'm sorry. That sounded great. You didn't think much of that. It seemed weird. It seemed weird to me. You would have done at least some things differently. Curiosity satiated. I mean, I don't think... It's weird for me, but if that's what he likes, then... You know. He can eat that. Like, that's his taste buds. Curiosity satiated. You turned back to your plate and finished your own creation. By the time you were done, Cove had already cleaned up his workstation. He turned to face you, studying your sandwich briefly. A small smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. You guessed it didn't look undeniable to him, at least. Or inedible to him, at least. Done? Yeah.
Cool.
He waited as you quickly returned the ingredients and cleaned a few utensils, then the two of you collected your respective plates. You both agreed on heading upstairs to hang out in your room. You and Cove entered your bedroom while balancing your food on the plates. Nothing fell, so it was a successful trip. Cove took a seat on the ground, stretching out on the hardwood floor in an attempt to keep a bit cooler. He immediately took a big bite of his sandwich, chewed, then hummed happily. This sandwich is really good. At least that's something. At this point, you sat down and started on your own sandwich. You nodded. You were enjoying yours too. You shrugged. It was okay. You scrunched up your face. This did not turn out as expected. I'll say the first one. Obviously, you were a pro at making sandwiches. He leaned back on his hands while chewing and glanced around. His every movement was sluggish. Want to do something? It seemed the plan of not doing anything at all had already worn thin, despite his lack of enthusiasm. Yeah, like what? Maybe not really. You couldn't even muster a reply. Like what? He rolled his head back, looking up at the ceiling. What about tic-tac-toe? You laughed at the suggestion, but went along with it. Yeah, neither of you had much energy for something more taxing. You grudgingly humored it. You thought it was a nice idea. Sure, why not? I'm gonna laugh, but go with it. You put your plate to the side and pulled out some markers and scrap paper. As you laid everything on the floor, he scooted back to make more room in front of you. Cove picked up one of the markers with his right hand while keeping a half slice of sandwich in his left.
Right.
I want to be X's, so you can go first. I think that's fair. Good, because I wanted to go first. You prepare to note down your first move, your marker hovering over the paper. Yay! I was hoping they let me do this. Okay. Let me start in the middle. Oh. After the first round, you were about to take another bite of your sandwich when a thought occurred to you. I wonder if anyone turned off the TV downstairs. The TV, it was on earlier, but no one was really watching. Then everyone started leaving the room. Or leaving the living room. I know I didn't turn it off. It might still be on downstairs with no one there. Cove smiled crookedly at that. Poor show. Playing with no one around to enjoy it. What was it? You squinted off into the middle distance, trying to recall the show's name. I feel like it was some kind of crime-solving drama. Cove nodded sleepily, his eyes closed, then opened again with some effort. Can you give any specifics? Maybe I can guess it. Well, you rested your chin on your open palm, groggily thinking as hard as you could. I remember there was a woman with long blonde hair, I think. She was the one solving crimes, like as a detective or something. There were scenes in a police station because someone got arrested. You lapsed into silence, the both of you thoughtful, then Cove chuckled. It wasn't that funny, but you joined in the laughter anyway. I don't know what that is. Me neither, and I just saw it. Let's see here. Another round came and went, and Cove grumbled as he readjusted himself. His features were twisted in a grimace. I feel so sticky. Ugh, I'm gonna be stuck to this floor forever now. I'll have to charge you rent then. You can be my new roomie if you want. Looks like we'll both be stuck here forever then. I'm sticky too. No way, I'll peel you off if I have to. You just smiled at his whining. I'll have to charge you rent, boy. Yeah, how much? $50.
What?
I think he sound like that. I can't afford that. Well, you've got to pay up if you want to stick around. Cove shook his head at your terrible pun and went back to the game instead of answering further. Then you returned to the game. Let's see here. Bruh, I need to focus. Y'all taking me out of my focus right now. Man said I'm broke. Cove spoke up once more, catching your attention. He was peering down at the piece of paper between you, his expression thoughtful. You know, tic-tac-toe is such a weird name for a game. What does it even mean? Maybe they named it that because people have played it with ticks and tacks? I've always wondered about that. I'll have to look it up later. It's a really old game, not sure where the name came from. Really? Nobody knows? Not for sure. Wow. Cove sounded impressed that you knew that piece of trivia. You sat up straighter under the weight of his stare. This boy trying to dupe me. Hold up. Okay, so if I go here. Damn. But I feel like Oh, I feel like I should go here. I feel like it's gonna be a tie though. It's gonna be a tie because if I go here, he's gonna go here to stop me. And then I'm gonna go here and nobody's gonna win. So, see, like, by this point, Cove had finished his sandwich. Yours was almost gone too, but now you were getting thirsty. You brought it up to your neighbor. Should we go downstairs to get some drinks? I was thinking that too, but I don't really want to get up. Me neither. You looked over at him, narrowing your eyes with false suspicion. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a tie. His voice versus how he looks is an interesting contrast. I agree. But hey, what happened to you not being able to get up ever again because you were stuck to the floor? That's still true. I mean, we're not actually going, are we? I only thought about it. You rolled your eyes and dropped the issue, defeated. Cove grinned a little at your disappointment over his victory. I mean... Oh, it's a tie. Were you out of it? I know I didn't try that hard. He smiled at you in an amused way. You somehow weren't surprised by that, despite Cove being the one who suggested the game in the first place. He started to yawn, his hand coming up to cover his mouth. It quickly transitioned into a small laugh. You understood why. Yawning just as he said he was feeling disinterested was kind of a funny coincidence. You laughed along with Cove. Well, you should have taken the challenge more seriously. You're the one who wanted to play in the first place. You shook your head at him. Cove just grinned and flopped onto his back, leaving his marker on the floor beside him. You stayed seated, looking your friend over as he stretched himself out. You really are so tall now. Cove snickered a bit at the random topic. He propped himself up onto his elbows to meet your gaze. Why are you even bringing that up? You shrugged. It made perfect sense to you to bring it up. My moms were talking about me and Elizabeth growing up, getting bigger and stuff.
Oh?
What kind of stuff? Well, Mom only likes women and Ma likes women too, but not just women. Yeah? Since the two of you were engaged in conversation, Cove got back into a sitting position. He brought a knee up and rested his arm atop it. A wistful expression overtook his face. I wonder when I'll know how I feel about that kind of thing. You don't know? Cove shook his head. I've heard at some point you're supposed to start liking types of people, guys or girls or whoever.
I don't know.
But I haven't. Nothing's changed. Maybe I have to grow up more. Maybe you just don't like anybody, or maybe you like all types of people. That's normal too. Cove seemed to appreciate that thought, if the smile that appeared on his lips was any indication. Okay, what about you? Who do you like? He turned his attention to you, looking encouraging. You were starting to have a physical attraction in a general way. You only seem to feel physical attraction in specific cases and situations. You didn't really have a physical interest in other people. You didn't think you could tell if you had an interest in people physically. I would say specific cases and situations. You were starting to have a romantic attraction in a general way. I would say the same thing. But specifically when it came to how you felt towards boys, you found them attractive, you thought you'd be happy to be with a guy someday. You found them attractive, but you hadn't thought about being with a guy. You weren't physically interested, but you'd be happy to have a romantic relationship with a guy. You weren't interested in guys. You generally weren't interested in guys, but there were special exceptions. I mean, I guess this one. You find them attractive, you thought you'd be happy to be with a guy someday. And how you felt towards girls. You found them attractive, you thought you'd be happy to be with a girl someday. You found them attractive, but you hadn't thought about being with a girl. You weren't physically interested, but you'd be happy to have a romantic relationship with a girl. You weren't interested in girls. You generally weren't interested in girls, but there were special exceptions. I mean, they're attractive. Hadn't thought about being with them, though. For people who aren't exclusively male or female, generally weren't interested in someone who's non-binary, but there were special exceptions. You weren't interested in someone non-binary. You weren't physically interested, but you'd be happy to have a romantic relationship with someone non-binary. You found them attractive, but you hadn't thought about being with someone non-binary. I mean, I'll just say the same thing. You returned your attention to Cove. He was waiting patiently for your response. You explained how you felt to Cove. I'd rather not talk about it. I'll explain it. He nodded understandingly at your attempt to describe how you felt. Then he scratched the back of his head, sheepish. I'm not really sure how we ended up talking about all that when we started out just playing tic-tac-toe. But it was good, I think. I think so, too. You shrugged. It was awkward. The conversation had a mind of its own. Yeah, let's say that. Cove chuckled a little bashfully. He glanced around, clearly scrambling for something else to say. So, have you gotten to make any progress on your artwork recently? Oh, yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot to tell you. The conversation took a lighter turn after that, and it felt like you got closer that afternoon. Finally, the blazing sun began to set. To your relief, the air cooled down a bit as a result. You pulled yourself off the floor, as did Cove, with some minor complaint. You both stretched your arms, groaning, and yawned into your hands. Everybody's so tired. Everybody keep yawning and stuff. Like, you glanced out your window briefly, taking in the soft reds, pinks, and purples of the late afternoon sky. Somehow you made it through the scorching hot day in one piece. Cove turned towards you, motioning towards your window with his chin. Want to go outside? It might be better out there than it is here now. Let's do it. I'm sick and tired of being cooped up inside all day. The two of you took your time heading downstairs. You stopped briefly to grab a drink of water, then continued on your way. You stepped outside, one after the other, your destination being the familiar hills behind your house. This time of day it was quiet outside. The flowers blew gently in the wind, petals trembling but stubbornly hanging in there. Your laptop is burning up. Oh gosh. You felt the breeze cool your heated skin and you relaxed your shoulders. Cove closed his eyes, releasing a deep breath. I really love it out here. I do too. You do? That's surprising, you said jokingly. Your opinion sure has changed since you were first on this hill. You quietly enjoyed the moment. I'm gonna say that. Cove chuckled, not even attempting to deny your words. A beat passed, but his gaze didn't stray from your own. His voice was impossibly soft when he spoke up again. I'm glad I met you, Rain. You're really important to me, you know? You blushed at the statement. I feel the same. That's so nice of you to say. You smiled silently. You're being too sweet. You're special to me, Cove. I'm blushing. Oh my god. You hoped that the reaction wasn't obvious, but it must have been because his smile grew at the corners. The two of you looked over into each other's eyes. Nothing more needs to be said. Even as the sun disappeared completely and the sky darkened, you and Cove remained side by side for as long as you possibly could. Oh, that was cute. Oh, you forgot to close your game. Oh my gosh. Okay, fam, let me see about this. Yeah, these can't be clicked on. Let's do a family. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills behind your house and had been relaxing there for a while. Oh, Lee's here! Lee had come over earlier in the day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk away about the musical she had gotten to see a few days ago. Oh, this is her in person. It was unbelievable. They were singing, dancing, and crazy stunts, and it was all done live right in front of my face. Maybe one day we could go together. I've got to see more shows like that. You smiled at Lee's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. And she was good at it too. You had gotten the chance to hear her sing a couple of tunes, and you knew she put a lot of effort into it. You also liked to sing, but you weren't very good. You also liked to sing and had talent of your own. You didn't like to sing, but you had been told you were good at it. You weren't good at singing, and that suited you fine. I'll do this. Whether that was true or not, there were other things you preferred doing more. I wonder if maybe we could put on our own show? Think of how fun it'd be. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends and some other people to come and watch it too. It'd totally work. Yes, let's do it. I don't know about that. The idea gave you stage fright. Sure, I'll give it a go. That's not a good idea. It'd be embarrassing. I don't know about that. I'm a little scared, girl. Shit. Wouldn't showing off to everybody be fun? I mean, but you can sing though. Hello? The thought of an audience made you feel queasy. Not really.
Are you sure?
Are you really super sure? You have so many skills you could show off to the masses. Okay, I'll do it, whatever. You could see that Lee was really excited about the idea, so with a small nod of your head, you agreed to go along with it. I'm gonna sing. What about you? I know singing isn't your thing. I'll sing too, I'll dance, I'll play an instrument, I'll write the song, I'll make a backdrop of some kind, or some kind of stage, I'll do the makeup, I'll pick the outfits, I'll do some kind of stunt that goes to the music. I'll dance. Okay, we can pick an upbeat song. That way it'll be easy for you to move. Is there anything else that's coming to your head? One more thing. I'll play an instrument. The guitar. Oh, let me choose the guitar because I said I play an instrument. I'm glad I chose that earlier. That will be perfect. Is there anything else that's coming to your head? Nah, that's good enough, girl. That's good enough. Stop trying to get me to do all the work. Hello, Sir Poppy 360. Hello. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. The two of you ran back to your house to grab the supplies you needed, dodging your mom's amused questions before heading back to the blanket to get started. You settled down with your guitar sitting in your lap. Lee and you discussed the plans in detail, settling on a song first and then practicing out parts for the show. The afternoon passed quickly, the sun dropping lower and lower in the sky, and after having thoroughly worked out how the show was going to go, you decided to take a break. Oh, you know, we should have invited Cove to watch us practice our show. He could tell us if it's bad before we put on the real thing. It's 102 degrees. Oh my gosh. Definitely stay cool. That's smart. You guess that would have been okay. I'm glad he didn't see. You said nothing. I'm glad he didn't see. I'm a little nervous. Oh, why? It's probably not something he'd like, and I don't want to hear if he thinks it isn't any good. I don't think he would be mean. You didn't answer her, but you never knew when it came to Cove. He could be pretty blunt at times. It's too bad Derek isn't in the neighborhood today. I like him. Yeah, he's a good person. I really like him too. He's okay. He's kind of boring. I don't really like him. I like him too. I knew you would. So exactly how much do you like him? Or maybe there's someone else that I haven't heard of yet. Look at her trying to gossip and whatnot. Lee wriggled her eyebrows at you suggestively, and you knew exactly what she was implying. My God, look at her trying to get me to say I like somebody. Lee, there's nobody I like that right now. I can't answer that. I have a crush. Yeah. Am I gonna, but if I say I have a crush, is it gonna say that I have a crush like on Derek? Lee's eyes sparkled in an instant like she just hit the jackpot.
What?
Oh, what? Oh my gosh. Who is it, girl? I'm not giving you a name. Someone from school. Is Derek Mr. Holden? Or Cove's mom? What? I'm not giving you a name. I'm gonna say someone. I'm gonna say I'm not giving her a name. Tell me something else about them then. This news was just too exciting. She wasn't going to be deterred. You weren't surprised when Lee started squeezing you for more details, and you answered as much as you were comfortable with. The two of you talked about your preferences and who you liked and stuff. You found that it was nice having someone to speak with these sorts of things about. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. Lee talked excitedly about the show as you did, and you thought back on what you had already accomplished for it. You could definitely do a little more with practice, but what you had so far was a solid foundation for the performance. Upon walking through the front door, you were... Why the fuck everybody mad? Hello? Yeah, it's on PC. Why? What? Why are they all mad at me? I was out with my cousin singing and dancing. Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee frowning slightly. You had interrupted something. Exactly what, you weren't sure. I hope it's between y'all, because I was not here. Hello? I was not here for any of this. Wow, who died? What's going on? You looked between them, but said nothing. Hello. I'm gonna say who died. Mom winced, and almost immediately you knew joking was the wrong thing for this. You really hoped no one was actually dead. Oh, God.
Oh.
We're just having a talk with your sister. The room felt quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. You felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You don't have to stop just because those two are here. There's no reason to try keeping it a secret. Elizabeth was mad, with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but your mom's nodded in agreement with her.
Well...
Elizabeth was asking about her parents. Oh. Her biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand. Why was this happening now? When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably as though she didn't know if she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just had never thought you'd accidentally stumble into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your past, but we did want to wait until you asked us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so... Your mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took in a quick breath before speaking again. I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Oh, she's Filipino? Wow. Elizabeth dropped her arms, her eyebrows shooting upwards in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here?
No.
No, you weren't. You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled even more with what to do or how to react. Am I going to have to pass some tests to even be a citizen?
No.
No, you were adopted into the country. We took care of things. You're already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the U.S. Nothing can be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, placated with the information, but still far from happy. Who were my parents? As people, why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulder, trying to provide some support before she gave her the answer.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. Ooh. They didn't go into details on the specifics of how, but you were an orphan. I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions, her eyes filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air, settling on enraged. Great, so I can never meet them even if I wanted to. Not that I could have anyway, since they lived in another part of the world when they were still alive. Elizabeth turned her back on you and your moms and stormed off, sprinting up the stairs into her room before anyone could stop her. I have to go talk to her. Mom immediately started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. We should give her a little space to process it all. Your mom's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone and the two of them seemed to remember you, and Lee were still standing awkwardly off to the side. I'm sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since it's the topic of the day, Rain, is there anything you'd like to ask? You deserve to know after all. Lee patted your back and gave you a supportive look. I want to know. No, I don't want to hear. Not right now. You couldn't even answer. I want to know. Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply, ready to talk. I can leave if you want to have things be private. No, I want you to be here. I can do that. Lee shifted a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. It made you feel a little stronger somehow. You turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you. Ma was the first to speak, her voice quivering with emotion. You were adopted as a baby, but 2 years after Elizabeth. We used a different organization that time, and you were adopted within the U.S. We're sorry to tell you, Rain, your parents had also passed away, and no other family member took you in, if there were any. That's why we wanted to wait until you asked. We didn't want to suddenly drop that in your lap. We wanted you to be prepared.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry, Rain. Lee gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show she was there for you. Thanks for telling me, okay? You said nothing. It's not your fault. You didn't kill them, right? You started to cry. You were so angry. I mean, just thank you for telling me. I did want to know, and now I do. Thank you for listening, Rain. If there's anything else you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have.
Okay?
How are you feeling now? Are you going to be okay? Lee watched you closely, as though judging how exactly she should react to what was going on. I feel fine, but you didn't mean that. You started to cry, you held back tears, but you weren't fine at all. Anger rose inside of you, you definitely weren't okay, you said nothing. I feel fine. You spoke with a refreshed tone, as though you had a load off. Your mom smiled sadly, but you knew they believed you. No one seemed to have any words after that. You went up to your room, you needed to stay here with your moms, you wanted to get out of the house, you wanted to see Elizabeth. Let me check on her. You were worried about Elizabeth. Even though she had been so angry when talking to your mom about everything, you could see she was clearly sad. You headed over to the stairs and up to her room. You asked Lee to go with you. You left Lee in the living room. I left her in the living room. It would be best to speak to Elizabeth alone. There was more a chance of her opening up to you that way. Waiting in front of your sister's door, you raised a hand to knock on it. There was no answer for a good minute or two, and when you jiggled the handle, you found it was locked. Raising your hand again, you knocked louder this time, thinking she must have her headphones on and so she couldn't hear you. When she still didn't answer the door a second time, it was clear to you that she either still couldn't hear or was just straight up ignoring you. It hurt to be shut out, especially right now. You went up to your room. You wanted to get out of the house. I'm gonna go up to my room. When safely behind your closed bedroom door, you let out a heavy breath before heading over to take a seat on your bed. You lay back on your bed and stared up at the ceiling, tracing the outlines of the old cracking lines up there with your eyes. You had no idea what to do now, so you stayed where you were for a while, thinking everything through. Everyone had been so upset earlier, and you didn't really know what you could do to help. Eventually, the sun finished setting, casting long shadows on your bedroom walls until the outside was enveloped by the dark of night completely. A sudden knock drew your attention, causing you to sit up straight. When you realized it wasn't coming from the door, but the window, your head snapped towards it. You didn't even have to question who it was. There was only one person who would come tapping at your window, especially at night. You moved closer and looked out, sure enough seeing the familiar head of green hair on the other side of the glass. In only a moment, you had the window unlatched and open for him to enter. Cove pulled himself in through the window with ease, standing straight in your room and dusting himself off. Cove, what are you doing here? Before he saw you, he seemed worried, and he ran a hand through his hair before speaking. I came to the front door. I wanted to just come by, but your moms told me they didn't know if you should be bothered right now, that I should come back later. I know they wouldn't have said it like if you were working on some school stuff or whatever, so I got worried. I thought something bad happened. And then you climbed up the side of my house? He smiled, feeling unrepentant for disregarding your mom's ruling.
I mean...
How else was I supposed to get in? You couldn't quite believe he had really shown up for you like this, but then again, you shouldn't have been surprised. He was always there for you. Well, what happened? Cove pulled your desk chair next to your bed and sat down, his long legs bent in front of him. You fidgeted a little with your bed covers, not knowing quite what to say, but he was willing to wait. There's a lot going on right now. It's nothing. You didn't speak to him. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here. My parents are dead. That's not funny, but it's just like, why is it written like that? Oh my god. I'm gonna say that though. I wanna see what he says. Cove froze at your outburst, except for his mouth, which fell open. My biological ones, before my mom's adopted me. Without having to say anything else, Cove reached out and placed a hand on your shoulder. He brought his face in towards you. I'm sorry, Rain. His words were whispered comfortingly. You don't have to do this. I'm okay. You closed the distance and hugged him. You started to cry. You took a step back from him. I'ma hug him. You stepped forward and slipped your arms around him, needing the reassurance. He returned the embrace easily. Can you explain everything to me? You nodded softly before taking in a heavy breath and launching into the story. Cove sat quietly and listened attentively, nodding every now and then or taking in a sharp inhale. Silence settled between you as Cove sat quietly for a moment, contemplating everything you had said. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, drifting through the night towards you. Rain.
I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry about what happened to your parents. So sorry. He stopped suddenly and took in a deep, shaky breath, and you got the impression he was struggling with what was right to say. I'm sad I'll never get to know them. I feel bad, and I don't feel worse about it. I'm just so mad. You shrugged your shoulders, not knowing how to feel. Say this. Everything was so overwhelming, it was difficult to get a good grasp. Rain, you're not doing anything wrong. You know that, right? I think that you can be as sad as you want for as long as you need, or you can feel okay about it whenever you want to. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair as he looked towards the window.
It's okay.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, whatever you feel about it is how you feel about it. You don't have to force yourself to be different. Thank you, Cove. You cried sadly. You cried in relief. You nodded. I'm gonna say thanks. His words had made you feel better, and you knew it was true. You didn't have to apologize or make any excuses for the way you felt about it at all. Cove smiled at you a little, and you could tell he was trying to be comforting. And your moms definitely don't. It doesn't matter if you're not blood related. You're definitely family. I can see that, and I hope you can too. You felt the reassurance in his eyes. A knock on the door made you look up, though before you could even move, it swung open and Elizabeth stood in your doorframe. She walked closer, and you didn't quite know what to do or what she was planning on saying.
So?
Would you mind going? I want to talk to just Rain. You can come back. It's not going to be forever or anything. Cove seemed equal parts concerned and skeptical. Leaving now wasn't a concept that thrilled him. You can't ask that. You nodded your head in agreement. I want to talk to you too. I mean, you can't just come in here and ask him to leave like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to, like, be there for her, but it's like, when I was trying to talk to you, you didn't want to talk. So you can't just come in here and tell him to leave when he's in here, like, comforting me about it, kind of. That's kind of how I feel about it. I do want to talk to her, though, but, like, she could have came in here and said, hey, can I talk to you? I'm going to say that. Rain, please, this is private. Elizabeth gave you a hard stare, and eventually you relented. You waited until the two of you were alone before fixing her with a cautious stare. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over. Did moms tell you about your parents, too? I don't want to talk about it. My birth parents also died. I'll say that. Elizabeth broke eye contact after that. Why did you want to talk to me? I went to see you and you didn't even answer. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the news.
What?
I didn't hear anything. Shutting everything out with loud music was very typical of your sister. You didn't feel much less confused, though. Why did you stop doing that, then? She shook her head as though the answer should be obvious. Or did it say, why don't you... Oh, it said, why did you stop doing that? I don't know. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made... Oh, why did she, like, ask about it? I see. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone. She sighed, glancing upwards for a moment before settling on you once more. I want to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our necks. That was pretty crappy of you to just bail. I'm amazed you noticed. That was unkind. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm not mad at you. You were quietly surprised by her. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, girl. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft. I'm okay, Elizabeth. It didn't upset me. How were you allowed to be that mature? The lightning spirits in her were quickly gone as she slipped back into a scowl. You have to be born in the U.S. to become president. What? You had never heard of that dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued. I get I was never going to be president, but it just feels weird having stuff taken away and not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born, I was going to have a completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it looked like in my head. I could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I've ever seen here, had someone else as my sibling. And then my parents died and I was adopted and the life I got became a totally new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was even if I wanted to. I haven't settled between you and the person who became your sister. I feel like that too. You knew exactly how she felt. I don't really understand. I see what she means. It was a confusing feeling to have lived one way for as long as you can remember, but not having it be what was originally yours. Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you and herself. I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up to make me ask a question. It was just something I've had in my head for a while. When it was just me and Mom's in the living room, I just kind of said it, finally, and there you go. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Right. Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Rain. She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes. I'd already figured a long time ago that moms weren't our biological parents. That wasn't news. Technically, one of them could have been related to you. You kept listening to Elizabeth. It doesn't really change anything. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. Our moms can have kids, just not both together. True, but I'm not half white or native Hawaiian, so no, neither of them could have been my mom. Oh. So Ma is Hawaiian. Oh my god.
Nice try.
Nice try, smart aleck. Nothing about the family I was first born in would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. If you had hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status, don't think you're so lucky. She bumped her shoulder against yours playfully, her lips tilted at the corners.
You'll always be my little sister.
You smiled softly at her. You jokingly groaned at the prospect. You bumped her back. You hugged her. I'll hug her. It took a few seconds, but she gave you a quick squeeze in return. You'll always be my family, too. I think I'm really lucky. You took in the moment quietly. I'll say that. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation had gone in the end. We should probably head downstairs and make sure moms are okay. It's been a long day for everybody. You gave her a nod. Down we go. I didn't know I could scroll up. That's cool. You met up with Cove just outside the room and made the short trip to the lower floor of your home together. The familiarity of it all felt nice. When you stepped into the living room, you found your moms quietly sitting together at the kitchen table. They both got to their feet when they noticed their arrival, and Ma gave you a careful smile. It seemed they were too concerned to really register that Cove was inexplicably here now, despite being turned away at the door earlier. We're so glad to see you. Hi, I'm sorry for walking away before. Everything is alright. You said nothing. I'll just say hi. Hi, sweetheart. Ma then came over and wrapped her arms around you and Elizabeth, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mom to join, putting her arms around the both of you.
Love you.
We really couldn't have asked for better, kiddos. We love you. More than we could ever say. Moms. You smiled at their comfort. You were so glad your moms are alright. You're smushing me. I love you too. It was a nice moment and you enjoyed it for as long as you could. They both pulled back eventually and grinned at the two of you, and you knew then that you all had each other and you always would. Damn, I forgot. I forgot she was here. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Oh my gosh. Poor Lee. She's been downstairs the whole time. Oh god. Hey, I hope you're alright. Lee came up towards you, a soft smile plastered on her face. Are you okay, Elizabeth? Elizabeth rolled her eyes and huffed a breath, and you knew she wasn't used to showing her vulnerable side.
Fine.
I'm doing fine. Lee nodded, though you could tell she didn't quite believe her. Well, now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family? That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have some fun before the night's over. I love the sound of that. Yeah, okay. Why not? You hid the smile that threatened to tilt your lips, knowing that Elizabeth must have been in a good mood if she hadn't even teased Cove for being a part of it. And no matter what she could have said about it, you wanted him to be here. The two of you have practically grown up together over the past 5 years. Who's got a suggestion? It should be something we can do here in the house with everyone in the same room. You suddenly remembered the show you and Lee had been working on earlier. Oh, God. Maybe we can do our show? You were bummed you never got to do it after all of that. You weren't so keen on that now after what had happened. We can do our show.
Oh.
A show? This is the first time we're hearing of this. I'm intrigued.
Wonderful.
It would be amazing if you put it on for us to watch. Oh yeah, I need to see what you've cooked up. That'd be cool. He smiled at Lee, who returned the gesture while bouncing on her heels in excitement. Take some seats and we'll get everything together. Your moms collected the chairs from around the dining table and set them in a row in the living room where there was enough space for the show. While they did that, you and Lee quickly gathered the supplies you needed and rehashed the plan one last time. You listened through the song you had chosen one last time. You also took a moment to cycle through the dance moves you had planned, and you collected your instrument from your room, making sure it was ready to go. When the two of you returned to the living room, everyone was sitting and chatting amongst themselves while they waited. The group quieted down when you and Lee stood in front of them on your makeshift stage. Lee was buzzing quietly with excitement beside you. You felt nervous all of a sudden. You were pumped for the show. You were unsure how... I'm nervous. No matter how small the audience was, it was still all eyes on you. Okay, so welcome to our show. We only came up with it today, but we promise it'll be good. You stay quiet. Thank you for being here tonight. No refunds. You're gonna really be impressed. I'm gonna say no refunds. Laughter rippled through the mini audience. Then you nodded at Lee that you were ready to begin. Lee took in a deep breath, waiting the few beats it took to get into the song, and started singing. The dance moves you had practiced went perfectly with the tempo of the song. You strummed together on your guitar. When the performance was over, Lee took your hand in hers and the two of you bowed deeply together. Everyone gave you a round of applause and cheered for an encore. When you straightened yourself up, you were happy to see that even Elizabeth was clapping for you. Bravo, bravo!
Good job.
You were so talented. Your family rose from the seats and came over to congratulate you more directly. You were beaming from ear to ear. Cove was the first one to approach, stepping up to you and Lee with a smile on his face.
It's nice.
Nice job. Thank you. You're really great with the guitar, Rain. It was cool. Thanks. I was pretty good, huh? You blushed and said nothing. Luckily, we had a crowd who's easily impressed. I'm gonna say that. You're talking about me, aren't you? Maybe. Cove chuckled and shook his head. Your parents gushed about how great everything was and thanked you for sharing it with them. Elizabeth was complimentary in her own way, although she did describe the show as cute, which you knew she meant as kind of kiddie. You laughed it off, however, you were just happy that everyone had a nice time. In that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be a part of the family you had. Aww, that was cute. I love it. All right, guys. Let's do one more. Now, should we continue going in order, like of how they're listed? Yeah, that family one was long. They're like different lengths though. They're not all like, you know, some are shorter than others. Should we do dinner? Should we just go to the next one? What do you guys think? Because I try to go like in order, just in case. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't matter what order you go in. Keep going in order. Okay. Dinner. I wonder if this is going to be like a dinner at the house, or if it's going to be dinner at someone else's house, or if it's going to be like out. In order for sure. Okay, so we'll do dinner. This will be our last one for tonight. Whew, let me get some water. Alright, sunlight shone through the windows as you sat in your living room, your home phone pressed to your ear. Cove was on the other end. It'd been shaping up to be an ordinary day like any other, until Cove had called unexpectedly. He sounded unusually nervous greeting you. You listened silently as he kept talking, his words stilted. So, I was just, wondering, do you want to come over to my house for dinner tonight? Oh, yay, someone else's house. The question came out strangely, almost like he'd rehearsed it a few times beforehand. Your eyes widened a little. You hadn't expected this to be the reason behind the call. Yeah, I'll go. I can't. You kept listening. I'm going to keep listening. Cove continued. His next words sounded rehearsed too, and tinged with nervousness. My mom and dad, they really want you to be there. If your parents don't have a problem with it, they will ask me to ask you. You took a moment to think. Dinner at home would be quiet and uneventful today. If you really wanted to, you could go to Cove's instead. Cove spoke up again, breaking your thought train. His voice was softer than before. Also, I want you to be there too. Can you come over, I mean? Yeah, I can come. I'll have to ask my mom to get back to you. No, I can't make it. Why am I the only one invited, or did you mean the whole family? Why would I say that? Thanks, Rain. I'll let them know when I can. He sounded noticeably relieved by your response. Was you coming over for a dinner today that serious? He spoke to you for a little while longer to explain what time to come over and other details, then hung up. A different scene. And that was that, for now anyway. Soon enough, the sun dipped out of the sky and evening came. It was time for you to head to Cove's house. After letting Elizabeth know you were leaving, she didn't look away from the TV, just grunted. You made the small journey across the street. You knocked a couple times on the heavy door to their condo. As you waited for an answer, you found yourself contemplating being a guest while both of Cove's parents were there. It was exciting, you were apprehensive, the idea made you curious, you didn't think it would be especially interesting, you couldn't say you were thrilled. I'm curious to see what's gonna go down. You wondered why they decided to invite you out of the blue. Maybe you'd find out later tonight. You didn't get too much time with your thoughts though. The door opened soon enough. Cove's mom, Kira, stood in the frame, smiling warmly at you.
Come on.
Hey, Rain, welcome. Please, come on in. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. Oh, their house is nice. So this is what their house looks like. You stepped inside, allowing her to shut it behind you. Thanks so much for coming over. I know it was kind of last second. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Of course, just make yourself at home. It's not my home, but I've been given permission to say that. Hey, Ryan, welcome to our humble abode. You jerked your head towards the sound of Mr. Holden's voice. He waved at you briefly from the kitchen with his back turned and a large spoon in hand. Hope you're hungry because I'm whipping up a lot of tasty stuff. True to his words, you heard something sizzling on the stove. You closed your eyes and inhaled. It smells spicy and savory. With Mr. Holden busy and Cove nowhere to be seen, it was just you and Kira. She gave you a wry smile. He sure is, while I've been barred from cooking the entire time I'm staying here. Can you believe that? She nudged you with an elbow. They're a cute little couple. I'm here for it. Mr. Holden scoffed good-naturedly, then spoke from over his shoulder. You're on vacation, Kira. You need to accept that already. She yelled back, amusement obvious on her face and in her tone. People still cook when they're on vacation. Everyone's got to eat. It's not like I'm some celebrity who can go out for every meal or hire a private chef.
Sorry.
Well, in this house, you're a VIP. Kira smiled and shook her head quietly, then she turned to face you once more.
Well,
Sorry about that, Rain. Here I was, trying to strike up a conversation with you, and Cliff just had to butt in. I don't butt in. She eyed him, chuckling in disbelief. He wasn't exactly disproving her point with that. Kira leaned over to whisper to you. It's okay. He likes to be included, but since Clifford insisted on cooking all by himself, he'll have to wait. The two of us can chat. Her next question continued to be said in a hushed tone just to be safe. So, how are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm good. Things are okay. I'm not really sure. You didn't reply to her question. Damn, not me ignoring her. I'm gonna say I'm doing good. That's what I like to hear. She opened her mouth to say something more, but some lightly pounding footsteps caught your attention. You checked to see Cove emerge from the hallway. A few moments later, he might have heard all the commotion and left his room. Huh? Sorry guys, something popped up on my phone. You checked to see Cove emerge from the hall a few moments later. He might have heard all the commotion and left his room to see what was going on. He quickly took stock of the situation. Rain, you made it. Thanks for coming. Cove's voice was unnaturally loud, as if he thought you wouldn't be able to hear him from where you were, only a few feet away. Hey, weirdo. Cove frowned at your playful greeting. Weirdo? Yeah, 'cause you're being all weird. He huffed, but he didn't deny it, which meant that he knew he was acting off too. It was when you glanced away from Cove that you spotted his parents watching the two of you interact. Cove noticed their stares too, meeting them with narrowed eyes. Are we having dinner now? Not yet, bud. I'm still cooking. Alright, I'm gonna go back to my room. As he turned to leave, he bent his head to the side to face you. You coming? The question was quiet, but you heard it clearly. You smiled, pleased that he asked, and nodded in the affirmative. I want to see his room. Boy, is your room clean? Cove turned fully and made his way down the hall. Have fun, you two. Why's she winking? We'll call you when food's ready to go. Okay. With that, you followed Cove. The two of you made your way down the hall. This was the first time you were invited to see Cove's room. You have visited Cove's room before, but only rarely. Going over to Cove's room was a standard occurrence for you nowadays. Nah, this is my first time seeing his room. Cove got to the door first, opening it and stepping inside. You joined him. Oh, wow. His room is spotless. And oh, he really does love seashells and stuff. I love this. There was a mat on the floor in front of the door. As you stepped over the threshold into his room, you felt the crunch of sand beneath your feet. Oh, there's sand? You glanced down. Sand was clustered around the entrance. You even spotted smaller amounts of it dusting the rest of the room's floor. Though you hadn't anticipated it, you weren't surprised at the sight. Of course, Beach Boy Cove would get his room all sandy. Okay, aside from that. So, this is my room. Cove was a bit shy as he said so, fidgeting with the hem of his shirt using one hand and vaguely gesturing to the space with the other. There's stuff you can sit on if you want. You looked over at the desk chair as an option. When you turned back, Cove was already sitting on the edge of his large bed. Are you trying to make your own beach with all this sand? It's nice. Thanks for letting me come over. You weren't sure what to do. Oh, his room's actually really nice. I like it. Cove's chest puffed out as he sat up straighter and smiled. Thanks. Dad helped me put stuff up, but I chose what to have and where. That's cool. You didn't sit anywhere. You sat down on the chair. You sat next to Cove on his bed. I'll sit on his chair. There was a desk chair in the room for a reason, after all. You walked over and rolled it out, taking a seat on it. It was stiff against your butt and creaked each time you shifted. He definitely used his bed space more often than this. Well, too late to complain now. You just have to deal with it. With the silence growing, your gaze began to drift. You stared at the bright fish swimming in the tank. There were a bunch of them floating to and fro in the open space. They stood out starkly against the green aquarium plants. How long have you had those fish? My dad bought them for me not very long after I moved here. I guess it's been years now. Wow, that's a long time. You peered carefully into the tank. The fish looked to be doing well. He must take good care of them. Most of them were small, but there was one especially big one. What are their names? I don't name them. Well, not really. He lifted an eyebrow at that. He continued the explanation sheepishly.
I mean...
Mostly I just call them things based on what they look like. Squirt for a small one, tangerine for a really orange one, that sort of thing. I've had a lot of fish and I'm not that good at coming up with names. You found that funny. You found that surprising. You found that relatable. It's funny. Who knew that was a weakness of his? It was an entertaining revelation. Oh, a couple of them have other types of names. He pointed to a small orangish redfish. It was minding its own business away from the others. My dad named her Dreamcatcher, and that other one's Mark. Mom came up with that one. So we have like Tangerine and Dreamcatcher and all that, and then Mark. Okay. Cove smiled to himself, his eyes reflecting the glow from the tank. You let other people name your fish?
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. He then turned to you, tilting his head to the side. There was a considering look on his face. Do you want to name one? Yeah, why not? His smile grew a little at your enthusiasm. Cool. There's a few who don't have names right now, the newer ones. You can pick which one you want to name. He pointed each of the recent acquisitions out to you. The first was the smallest fish in the tank. It was completely orange and zipped all over the place, running laps around the others. The second was slightly bigger and red. Its tail was dotted with black spots, which almost resembled freckles. The last fish was the big one. Its multicolored scales rippled under the bright light of the tank as it slowly made its way across the vast expanse. You went with the biggest one. Cove only nodded at your answer, waiting on you to decide on a suitable name. You watched the fish you chose closely. As you did, a name eventually came to you. Frank Sunbeam Gill Rain. Cove, type in your own answer. Oh my gosh. I like Sunbeam though. I also like Rain. Sunbeam, I really like that. Let's go with that. Cove laughed unreservedly at your choice. It was affectionate rather than insulting. You name things like my dad. Alright, it's Sunbeam. With that, his attention moved from you to the tank. He peered fondly at it and its inhabitants. He smiled proudly at Sunbeam as it swam through the tendrils of the plants, disappearing then reappearing soon after. You know, I'm not allowed to have pets in my house, not even fish. The corners of Cove's lips turned down at that. That doesn't sound fair. It's not like fish would make a mess of your house or anything. You just gotta take care of their tank and feed them, and they'll be okay. Right? My mom's can be strict over the weirdest things sometimes. I don't mind it too much, I get it. I mean, I feel like that's a little weird. They trust Elizabeth and me to go around the neighborhood alone, but they won't let us have a pet? It doesn't make sense. Maybe when you're even older, they'll let you? I don't know, they seem pretty against it. Your current conversation brought to mind a memory from years ago. You launched into it without any warning, earning you a brief, confused look from Cove. One time, Elizabeth, came back from playing at the beach and just shut herself in her room. She only came down for food, and then she ran back upstairs straight after. It was kind of weird. My mom didn't think much of it at first, though. But then that night, Mom went to her room to say goodnight and started screaming. Mom and I ran over to see what happened. Lizzie had this huge lizard in her arms. Cove's eyebrows rose at that, and he leaned forward in interest.
Really?
A lizard? Where'd that come from? Elizabeth said she saw it half buried in the sand, didn't know what it was. Then she pulled it out and got the answer, so she brought it home. She hid the lizard in her room for most of the day because she wanted to keep it. Mom and Mom were not happy. They worried about putting it out during night, but she was going to have to let it go in the morning. Lizzie was really upset. She did bring it back to the beach eventually, but she wouldn't talk to anyone for days. When she did get over it, it was almost like it never happened. You laughed thinking back to that time. Elizabeth had always been stubborn, but when she was younger, she forgot grudges quickly. Now it wasn't so easy. Cove had been quiet for most of the story, apart from the reveal of the lizard. He had a thoughtful look on his face. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to have a sibling. You gave serious thought to his statement before you told him. It's fun, there are ups and downs. You're lucky to be an only child. It's a nice idea in general, but my sister is Elizabeth. I don't know how to explain what it's like. I'd say there are ups and downs. It's fun to have her there when she wants to be there, but now Elizabeth barely feels like hanging out with me. Cove pursed his lips at the words, considering them quietly for a while. That's interesting. I think your family's cool. He didn't have much else to say, though while on the topic of your family, you considered your relationship with your moms too. They were absolutely the best. You got along with your moms. You thought your moms were okay. You found your moms to be difficult to deal with. I mean, they're really nice. I like them. You couldn't even consider having another opinion. You couldn't have better parents. Well, say what you want about them, but at least your mom's never tried to pay someone to be your friend. Not him throwing shade at Cliff. The thought prompted you to look over at Cove. He probably still didn't know that happened. You doubted that Mr. Holden mentioned it, and you never had. You wondered if you should tell him. It was a long time ago, but you were keeping a secret from Cove. Oh, he doesn't know. Oh my god. You didn't tell him it was a bad time. You didn't tell him you weren't sure how he'd react. You didn't tell him secrets were meant to be kept. You didn't tell him, you just didn't want to have that talk with Cove? You decided to tell him. Guys, should I tell him? Should I tell him that when the first day I met him, his dad was trying to pay me $20 to be his friend for the summer? Or should I not say anything? I feel like that's just gonna make dinner awkward though. But oh, but at the same time, like, what if he finds out that I didn't tell him later? I don't know. Don't tell him yet. So you feel like you said yet. So you feel like I should tell him at some point, just not right now. I would wait for him to be able to square up with his dad. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna say it's a bad time because he's already kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of a little bit on edge a little bit because his mom is here and all that, and we're having dinner. Yeah, I'll say it's a bad time. You could bring it up some other day when the moment was right. Time passed, but you didn't really notice. The two of you were busy making plans for the rest of the summer and chatting about your respective days. Eventually, you heard a muffled holler from a different part of the house. You and Cove raised your heads in unison.
Oh.
It's time for dinner. Cove watched the firmly shut door he had been locked behind for most of the night, but he didn't make a move to get up from the bed. You couldn't see his face, so you didn't know what expression he was wearing. I'm glad you came. Cove peeked back at you from the side. It's been awkward. Really? I couldn't tell. You were being sarcastic, of course. It was obvious that he felt weird around his parents generally, and especially lately. Cove said nothing else and remained sat where he was. Now would be as good a time as any to ask him why his parents so suddenly wanted you to come over. Is there a reason they wanted me to come over tonight? Yeah, let me say that. It hasn't been awkward for just me. Sometimes it gets like this when no one else is around, but now you're here. Huh, you hadn't considered that, but it sort of made sense in a way. I mean, that's true. He does look built enough to square up with his dad right now, even though apparently he's only 13, but I've never seen a 13 that looks this ripped. Like, that's just me though. Like, look at his chest. Like, he looks like a grown-ass man. There was another shout from outside, too muffled to actually know the words, but you could imagine what they were. Let's go. Cove finally got up, lumbering away with his shoulders sagged. You followed after him. Together, the two of you made your way back to the living room. Oh, look at his room again. Aww. It's cute. Okay, I'm done. Oh, look at you guys. They're cute. As you expected, Cove's parents were politely waiting for you at the kitchen table beside the windows overlooking the back of the house. Food had been prepared and set. Mr. Holden beamed as you and Cove took your places. I hope everyone's hungry. I cooked up a feast. I know I am. Yeah. Cove's mumbled response wasn't nearly as upbeat as theirs. His parents didn't notice, or they pretended not to. Mr. Holden instead looked at you grinning.
Thanks.
Let's just all take a moment to thank our special guest for being with us here tonight. I'm so glad you were able to make it rain, and on such short notice, too. You thanked Cove's parents back for inviting you. You didn't say anything, you just felt awkward. I'm gonna thank them. Thanks for having me over.
All right.
Well, that's it. Everyone, please, dig in. You can help yourselves to the food. Upon his encouragement, you looked over the meal spread out in front of you. There was a large garden salad in the center, surrounded by a variety of Mexican dishes. There were a lot of sides and optional sauces to add. You were very happy about these options. You could work with this. You weren't exactly a fan. This kind of surprised you. I could work with it. You didn't mind Mexican food. Mom loved it, so you ate it as a family often. In a way, it made your first dinner at the Holden house feel a bit more normal. Utensils and plates scraped and clinked together as the group began filling their plates. Cliff, could you pass the salsa verde? Of course.
Thanks.
Thank you. Let me just say, you really outdid yourself tonight. I'm so jealous. Jealous of what? Your cooking's nothing to squeeze at, Kira. Cove's parents made small talk, filling the silence with what seemed to be barely any effort. You joined right in without a thought. I didn't know you could cook.
Huh?
You didn't? Who do you think has been feeding me and Cove all this time? I don't know. Maybe you guys get takeout and stuff. You could afford it, I think. Mr. Holden sputtered, acting grossly offended, but he was grinning, good-naturedly. Takeout? If we ate that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we wouldn't have made it this long. Cove's mom leaned towards you, her eyes twinkling merrily. I know it might seem like Cliff is a big goof, but he's got some skills. Hey now, that sounds less like a compliment and more like an
Don't
insult.
worry about that.
If that's how you want to take it, I can't stop you, can I? Such disrespect and in my own home. Sorry, my friend. Everything looks great, Dad, as always. Thanks, sport. Glad you think so. Cove smiled. It was genuine, even if it was strained at the corners. Brief silences interspersed the small talk. You piled some food on your plate, waiting for your turn if someone was serving themselves a dish that you had your eye on. Once the food had been divided and things settled down, Cove's parents started talking again. Now then. You sat up in your seat when you noticed they were both looking at you.
How's it going?
How's everything been over at your house? Are your moms well? You been keeping busy this summer? Or maybe you're just trying to take it easy during the break? Felt overwhelmed by the sudden rush of questions. You were more than happy to answer. You were surprised but didn't mind the interest. You felt uncomfortable with the attention. I don't mind. Cove's parents seemed honestly interested to hear from you. They were kind of flattered by the attention. Or you were kind of flattered by the attention, my bad. You answered how things were at your house. You told them how your moms were doing. You mentioned things you'd done this summer. I'll just say how they're doing. They're great. You should ask my parents about yourself. What the hell? Mom took us out for dessert a couple weeks ago since her project went really well. Is that so? I'll have to congratulate her when I see her. You answered how things were at your house. I mentioned things I've done this summer. Not sure where to start. There's so much that's happened. You know what I've been up to since so much has included your family. I haven't really done much. Mr. Holden's brows raised when you answered with that. You sure are keeping yourself busy. I could learn a thing or two from you. Answer how things were at my house. It's been good, is what you said, but you didn't mean it. It's been good. It's alright. It's not that great. I mean, it's been good.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that was that for your question answering. Kira nodded along. You could tell she was actually listening to the words you were saying. She was trying to include you, not humor you. Did you know Cliff Rain is really into art? Mr. Holden's face lit up and he stopped eating so he could lean forward, his arms braced against the table.
Nice work.
Oh, that's right. Very cool. It's just a hobby. I'm pretty serious about it. Oh, it's not a big thing. It's just a hobby. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good to do things just for fun. Everyone needs a hobby. I've been thinking of picking up wood carving myself. He couldn't tell how serious he was being about that declaration. Thanks. Cove's parents were definitely the encouraging type, but you could already tell that much about them. There was a lull in conversation as everyone focused their attention on their respective plates. You noted not for the first time that Cove's parents were the ones guiding the conversation. You wondered if you should break the silence this time. You brought up your own topic of conversation. You left coming up with a conversation topic to them. Let me bring something up. Also, like other things, would you like to tell us more? Yeah, absolutely. They looked genuinely eager for you to keep talking, so you did. The rest of the dinner continued just like that with light conversation as you ate your meals. Eventually, all the dishes on the kitchen table were pretty much gone. Kira sat down her fork and rested her arms at her sides, letting loose a satisfied sigh. Her plate was completely empty.
Thanks.
That was delish. Thank you for your culinary creations, Cliff. Mr. Holden was like a flower soaking up the rays of the sun. He beamed, flattered by the praise. You ate way too much. You ate until you were satisfied. You tried not to eat too much, even though it was good. I ate too much. You practically licked your plate clean. You were so full that you were afraid you might burst. Cove successfully kept his presence to a minimum for the full meal. He was slumped over even now, toying with his silverware. His parents practically only talked to you. Most attempts to entice him to join the conversation failed. It wasn't typical for him to say so little. He at least tried to participate. You didn't get much time to contemplate Cove's situation because your attention was taken by Mr. Holden pointedly clearing his voice. Not to sound like a broken record, but thanks for coming, Rain. I'm glad we finally got the chance to have you over for a real dinner.
What?
What? Did I hear that right? This is the first time Rain has ever had dinner here? Why in the world haven't you invited her over sooner? Cove was always the one going over to Rain's house until now. Food was bussin'. I mean, how was I supposed to reject the generous offers of the Palmer family to host my kid? Kira shook her head, but the amused smile she was sporting told you that she wasn't actually mad. This guy, honestly. The three of you looked at Cove in unison, his small sound being more than enough to get the focus on him after his silence. By now, he stopped fiddling with his fork.
I mean...
Would it be alright for Rain to stay over, like, for the night? I knew he was gonna say that. He shot you a shy glance and smiling a little. If you're cool with that. Mr. Holden's shoulders stiffened. He sat up straighter, eyes darting back and forth between you and Cove. His mouth open, but not a peep came out. You never seen Cove's dad say no to him before, but this was different than the usual request. It wasn't so simple, and Mr. Holden was lost. Then Cove's mom reached out and took a hold of his shirt collar. She pulled him closer. She glanced at you before leaning in and bringing a hand up in front of their faces. The two adults whispered seriously to each other. Cove's eyes opened wider. He leaned forward as if that would help him overhear his parents' conversation. Mr. Holden kept gesturing with his hands while Kira made sure he didn't get too far away with all his movements. Every now and then, both of them would watch you and Cove out of the corner of their eyes. I mean, if y'all want to say no, you can just say no. You don't got to do all this, oh my god, yeah, oh, yeah. Like, you don't have to do all that shit. Just say no. It didn't seem like they were fighting to you. They looked more like some kind of tiny sports team having a private huddle. After a bit, they broke the group up. They moved back to sit properly in their chairs. My mom would have said no before you finished the question. You snuck a look at Cove. He stared at them expectantly. You were eager to hear their verdict, too. Kira and I think that should be fine. But, he lifted a finger dramatically, his brows raising as he met Cove's gaze and then your own. You'll have to talk with Rain's parents to make sure they'd be comfortable with it. If they are, we can arrange for a sleepover to happen on a different night when everyone is more prepared. If Rain's folks don't like the idea, there's nothing we can do. He finished the mini-speech with a wide shrug using his full arms. He also checked out Kira from the corner of his eye and gave her a crooked smile. She nodded approvingly and grinned back. You thought you saw her give him a thumbs up, but her hand was partially blocked by the table. They looked so pleased with themselves over the answer, but they just passed the actual decision on whether it was alright or not to someone else, namely your parents. If this was a sports game, they would have punted the ball away. Cove hung his head deflated. He had been hoping you could stay over today, not some hypothetical time in the future. You gave him some words of encouragement. You patted him on the back. I'll sneak the phone into my room tonight. You could always sneak into my room again. You pouted about it too. I'll sneak the phone into my room. If you get your home phone too, then we'll be able to talk. Then we can still talk even though I'll be back home. Cove's eyes sparkled at the suggestion. It may or may not end up being possible, but it was worth trying. With that, dinner finally came to an end. Mr. Holden stood up from the table and began collecting empty plates. Cove was asked to help out, which he did with little fuss. Kira tried to lend a hand as well. However, Mr. Holden didn't let her. It seemed she was barred from cleaning as well as cooking. You weren't allowed to chip in either, since you were there as the declared guest of honor. Although the meal was over, the night wasn't. It looks like you weren't going home just yet after all. You were asked to wait on the couch. While Cove and his dad were cleaning up the mess, Kira disappeared down the hall after shooting you a wink. It was a bit strange sitting by yourself while everyone else had something to do. Luckily, you weren't alone for too long. After a couple minutes, Cove's mom returned with a deck of cards in hand. She strolled into the room confidently while shuffling. So, who's up for a few rounds? Cove and his dad looked over their shoulders at the question. They were mutually intrigued by the cards in her hand. She beamed at their expressions and stepped further into the living room. Ignoring the couches, she sat cross-legged on the floor by the coffee table. She turned to you and gestured at the space beside her, smiling invitingly. You accepted and followed her lead. The living room carpet was soft, though the hardwood floor underneath could definitely still be felt. Kira did an overhand shuffle while she waited for the others to finish their task. The smile had yet to leave her lips.
Great.
This is going to be good. You were excited, you were nervous, you were bored, you were kind of annoyed, you enjoyed her enthusiasm. I like her enthusiasm. Cove's mom was funny, upbeat, and easygoing. You leaned closer to watch her expertly shuffle the cards. It didn't take much longer for Cove and his dad to wrap things enough to call it good. Cove's dad appeared first, followed closely behind by Cove. Mr. Holden rubbed his hands together in anticipation. All right, I'm ready. As he took a seat across from you on the floor, you noticed that Cove hadn't joined him. He went straight down the hall and said without even a word. You stared on, confused as he disappeared through his bedroom door. Cove's parents didn't look concerned at the stunt. Kira nonchalantly split the deck of cards into two and ruffled the halves together while offering an explanation of sorts. Cove doesn't keep his wallet with him when at home. He puts it away. What? Cove quickly returned to the living room, a black wallet in his hand. He took a place at the foot of the table with the rest of you. You blinked as Cove unzipped his wallet. You guys use real money even when you're only playing card games with each other? While you sat there, your hands idle in your lap, the three shot looks at one another and size each other up.
Yeah.
That's right, $5 per round per person. Winner takes all. Go big or go home. Oh, are you planning on kicking Rain to the curb, or do you intend on donating to the Guest of Honor's pot, Mr. High Roller? Mr. Holden narrowed his eyes and leaned back against the side of the couch, completely at ease.
No worries.
If Rain wants to play, I'll fund her way in. Don't you worry about that. He rested an arm across the top of a knee that he propped up. Cove's dad was acting slick in a way you'd never seen before. You appreciate his offer. You joked that he shouldn't be so confident. You felt awkward about the situation. His surety in this was pretty appealing. You ignored it. I'm gonna say he shouldn't be so confident. How about that? Are you sure? Adding me could be spelling your doom. Right you are, Rain. I hope you can back that attitude up. You know I can, Kira. You can let me pay for Rain. She's my friend. Mr. Holden grinned with a chuckle.
Good kid.
Alright, bud, I concede. You're too polite for me. Well, you've got your ticket. Interested in throwing in? He glanced around. This seemed like serious business. In response to your consternation, Kira softened her competitive smile. Don't worry too much. We'll probably just do some rounds of Go Fish tonight. No biggie.
Do you mind?
What do you think? I'll join in, I guess. Definitely, I want to play. Mr. Holden gave you a big thumbs up while Cove nodded firmly back. You were really good at Go Fish. You were decent. You left it all to luck. You were always bad. Pretty good. You usually won when you played with your own family, to the point Elizabeth refused to play that game with you anymore. Fantastic. We'll play for however long everyone wants to keep going, or until people start running out of cash but are still refusing to quit while they're behind. Speaking for yourself, I see. With a laugh, Kira nudged you using an elbow, then motioned towards the other two with her chin. Don't be fooled by their soft faces. These boys are sharks. In reaction to her words, Mr. Holden smirked, and Cove's eyebrows became more entangled. Kira's phrasing made you think back to when you were young, specifically of Mr. Holden's favorite shark pants that he used to wear all the time. Perhaps they had been a fit for him in ways you didn't know of. You could feel tension in the air. Cove and his parents glued their eyes to one another, then all placed $5 bills in an empty space in front of them. Cove dropped in an extra one for you, giving you a tiny smile after he did. Once this was done, Kira began dealing out cards to everybody. It was time to begin. The first round came and went quickly, with the group getting into the groove of things. You won right away, which meant you had money to keep playing the second round. You're a natural. Nicely done. You better keep those wits about you for the next round, though. As the night went on, so did the games. Mr. Holden would jokingly shake his fist whenever someone other than him got a pair. Kira acted as a news anchor, reporting on every move everyone made by speaking into her curled fists. Cove was still a few words, but now it was because he was focused on the game instead of being overcome with awkwardness. Most of the time, you even spotted a smile on his lips. You won quite a few games, to your delight. You had a hefty money pile on your side of the table. You must regret paying Rain's way in now, huh? No way. Rain might be beating me, but she's also beating you two. Cove turned towards you and smiled, looking pleased at your ability to match his mom and dad. You smirked and raised your hand for a high five, which he was willing to give you. Sweet. It became clear that where the money went in the moment didn't really matter. They ended up giving it back to one another in other ways, and not just through more rounds of cards. You sat back looking over the scene. A tiny smile grew on your face. Cove's family was pretty cool, you thought. You were glad you got the chance to come over to spend time with the three of them. Yay! We finished it, guys! Well, we're not done with this step, but we finished the moment, so. That part was actually really freaking cute. And I think we got quite a bit done. We finished the prologue, and then we did 4 moments. So, yeah, that was really nice. But, so basically what I think Cove's mom is really cool. His dad was always cool. I don't know. Like, these parts were really nice. Like, we learned more about our family and where we came from. We had really good moments with Elizabeth. We haven't seen Derek again or Jeremy, so that's going to be interesting when we see them. Lee came over. We got to hang out with her. She's cool. So, yeah, I think things are going pretty good. I'm excited for the road trip, the mall, the birthday. All of the other ones are, like, drawing me in. I'm excited to see what those are about. So we'll probably play another part sometime this upcoming week, which should be interesting. But thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys had a great evening watching me play this game. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.